Chapter 1268. The juice of the great beauty jade cassia could slow down the aging process and whiten and smooth the skin. If the osmanthus honey of great beauty was applied to the face for a long time, it could even restore the youthful appearance of a person in their 20s. This effect was enough to make any female spirit chi professional go crazy. Of course, whether or not the cinnabar sweet osmanthus could evolve into the great beauty jade containing osmanthus still depended on whether or not this rumor was accurate. But no matter what, being able to evolve the cinnabar sweet osmanthus was a good thing. As a Class 2 creation master, when you couldn't immediately recognize the coiled fortune swallow's ability. However, Xianxia was already close to the standard of a Class 4 creation master. As soon as Xianxia saw the uniqueness of the coiled fortune swallow, he immediately stopped them from doing anything. He told Wuxia and Wenyu to remain calm. Upon seeing that the bewitched fortune swallow had let down its guard against Lin Yuan, Xianxia took the initiative to speak. "Ah Yuan, congratulations on having such an auspicious guest in your manor." Lin Yuan replied with a smile. "It's all thanks to Big Brother Zhong. If Big Brother Zhong didn't say goodbye at the right time, I might have missed this little guy." Lin Yuan was not being courteous but his true thoughts. The swallow Xiangyin's abdomen was injured. The cinnabar sweet osmanthus's skill targeted the mind. It was unable to effectively heal Fu Xiangyin's physical injuries. In order to recover from his injuries as soon as possible, the coiled fortune swallow might fly out of the manor to think of a solution. Even if the lucky swallows had set their sights on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, they would still return in the end. However, it was hard to guarantee that the eye-catching feathers of the good fortune swallow would not bring trouble to the good fortune swallow. If the lucky swallow died outside, then the fortune of everyone in the manor would slip away. After sending Xianxia away, Lin Yuan activated the source sand. Then a large number of black feathers separated from the source sand and formed several pairs of wings behind Lin Yuan. He flapped his wings and brought the lucky swallow on his shoulder to the cinnabar sweet osmanthus's trunk. He found the flattest part of the trunk and tried to grab the coiled fortune swallow on his shoulder. However, just as his hand was about to touch the coiled fortune swallow, it had already jumped to the trunk. She did not give Lin Yuan a chance to touch her. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan knew that the coiled fortune Xiangyan had let down its guard against him. However, the prerequisite for letting down his guard was to keep a safe distance from the Xiangyan. Lin Yuan did not care about this. Instead, he picked some suitable cinnabar sweet osmanthus branches and broke them off. He took a feather and cut the cassia branch into 7 or 8 centimeters long sections. He used these branches to build a simple nest on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. Then he returned to the ground and withdrew his black wings. He knew that the fortune Xiangyan would not live in the nest he had built. He was only doing this to express his thoughts to the coiled fortune swallow and tell it that it could build its nest here with peace of mind. In the future, if there were any problems with the nest, he could ask for his help. As a bird fey with extremely high vigilance, it was impossible for it to build a nest under their noses. Thus Lin Yuan pulled them back to the main mansion. Upon seeing the dumbfounded expressions on Lu Jia's and Wenyu's faces, Lin Yuan explained the coiling fortune swallow's ability to them. Lu Jia and Wenyu had never thought that there would be such a big opportunity under their noses. If Lin Yuan had not discovered this opportunity and Xianxia had taken the initiative to stop them, they would have probably slipped away. This opportunity would have slipped away because of the two of them. This matter made Lu Jia think to himself. It's indeed easier for creation masters to seize opportunities. Wenyu was thinking that there was a huge gap between her and Lin Yuan's creation master standards. She needed to touch the Fae and carefully investigate it to be able to figure out the ability, but Lin Yuan only needed to look at it. After nightfall, Lin Yuan quietly stepped out of the mansion. He found that the nest he had built for the coiled fortune swallow had been kicked to the ground by it. At the place where he had built the nest, there was a nest prototype made of a bunch of fine branches with goose-yellow feathers. Lin Yuan did not disturb the coiled fortune swallow, which was happily sucking the nectar and pecking the petals among the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. He turned around and returned to the main mansion to sleep in peace. The next morning after breakfast, Lin Yuan went to Star Web to meet Qi Heng and Qi Haitao, who had been waiting for a day. When Lin Yuan met them, his attitude was very unyielding. He could not be bothered to talk nonsense. He went straight to the point. "Yesterday I heard that the two of you allowed me to state any conditions. You can accept any conditions, right?" Qi Heng and Qi Haitao heard Lin Yuan's words and looked at each other. Then Qi Heng stepped forward and said to Lin Yuan, "City Lord, you are right. City Lord, you are right. No matter what conditions you have, you can state them directly. Our blissful sea tribe will do our best to fulfill your conditions." Although Qi Heng had a smile on his old face as he spoke, his eyes were abnormally dim. From Lin Yuan's tone, Qi Heng knew that Lin Yuan did not have the patience to negotiate with the blissful sea tribe. Next, Lin Yuan would state his conditions directly and would not give the blissful sea tribe any chance to bargain. As expected, Qi Haitao heard Lin Yuan say indifferently, "In that case, hand over all of the blissful sea tribe's industries and resources to Sky City. As the City Lord of Sky City, I promise to help you win the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and give you a chance to live. As for where you will go, it will be up to you. In short, hand over all of the blissful sea tribe's assets." Lin Yuan's words surprised Qi Heng. Qi Heng thought that at the very least, Lin Yuan would let them stay in the blissful sea tribe and maintain the operations of the blissful sea tribe's industries. He did not expect Lin Yuan to underestimate the value of the blissful sea tribe and only choose to absorb the blissful sea tribe's industries. In that case, even if they won the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, they would still be chased out of the blissful sea tribe like stray dogs. Qi Heng quickly said, "City Lord, why don't you?" Before Qi Heng could finish speaking, Lin Yuan interrupted him. "My conditions are my bottom line. If you think that my conditions are not good enough, then you can have the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family. After the Blood Oath battle is over, Sky City will initiate the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. The blissful sea tribe will still belong to Sky City. As for what will happen to you, you know it best." After saying that, Lin Yuan stood up and put on a posture as if he was about to leave. Seeing that Lin Yuan was about to leave, Qi Haitao quickly knelt on the ground. He said to Lin Yuan before Qi Heng could leave, "End of this chapter." Chapter 1269. City Lord, we, the blissful sea tribe, will obey your request. We will do as you say. However, I have a piece of information here. I would like to use this information to make a deal with you, sir. In exchange for resources for our blissful sea tribe, we can start anew." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan lowered his head to look at Qi Haitao, who was prostrating on the ground, and felt a trace of interest. Since Qi Haitao dared to discuss a deal with him at this time, he must have some incredible information. Lin Yuan said indifferently, "If this information is valuable, when your Qi family leaves the Paradise Sea tribe, I can give you 5 million radiance dollars as startup capital." Qi Haitao's expression flickered. The last time he came to Sky City's Star Web private faction territory, he was on equal footing with Sky City's City Lord. Now, in front of the Lord of Sky City, he had become a stray dog. As for whether he could use this condition to exchange for 5 million radiance dollars, Qi Haitao knew that he couldn't make the decision and still had to see Qi Heng's opinion. So Qi Haitao looked at Qi Heng. Qi Heng nodded helplessly when he saw Qi Haitao looking at him. The source of this information was right under the few islands that the blissful sea tribe had bought in the distant sea. Once Sky City occupied those islands, they would discover this secret sooner or later. If he could exchange it for some resources, it would be the best choice. However, 5 million radiance dollars were too little. Any bronze/epic fae could be sold for 30 million radiance dollars. As a Class 4 creation master, he could create 5 million radiance dollars in a day or two. To put it bluntly, Qi Heng was not interested in the 5 million radiance dollars that Lin Yuan offered. However, Qi Heng knew that he and the others were not qualified to bargain with the Castellan of Sky City. If bargaining now angered the City Lord of Sky City, then the City Lord of Sky City would definitely not help the Sea of Bliss tribe. In that case, the blissful sea tribe would be as good as wax. When Qi Haitao saw Qi Heng nod, he spoke to Lin Yuan. "City Lord, there was a huge whale crash under the island that our Sea of Bliss tribe purchased." Upon hearing Qi Haitao's words, Lin Yuan immediately widened his eyes. But what was going on? Why did he encounter so many fortuitous encounters recently? The whale fall was a gift from nature to the sea. Even a small whale fall could bring a feast of life to the bottom of the sea, let alone a large whale fall. When hundreds of giant whale fays were buried at the bottom of the sea at the end of their lifespans, they would provide unimaginable nutrients for the entire sea region. It was enough to turn this deep-sea fish fay farm into a super fishery. Any fish fei raised in it could grow at the fastest speed. In the process of decomposing the numerous cetacean phase corpses at the bottom of the sea, the ocean currents would sweep a large amount of nutrients to the surface. The nutrients from the bottom of the sea to the surface could even give many aquatic phase the opportunity to evolve and mutate. In fact, a large whale fall could not only bring benefits to the fishery. It could also bring a major opportunity to the floating island whale in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. If what Chi Haitao said was true, then there was a huge whale fall under the island of the Sea of Bliss. In that case, his floating island whale should be able to hatch as soon as possible with the energy of this large whale fall. At the same time, he also obtained a lot of unhatched island whales at the location of the large whale fall. Lin Yuan looked at Qi Wangyang and said seriously, "If the information you gave is true and there is really a large whale fall below the island, I can guarantee the safety of your Qi family for 3 years. 3 years is enough for the Qi family to make a comeback and develop into a rising force. At that time, if someone dares to make a move against your Qi clan, they will have to apply for a blood oath extreme duel. This will give your Qi family a chance to prepare in advance." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Qi Haitao and Qi Heng were confused. She did not understand what Lin Yuan meant by that. When Sky City destroyed the Miao family's beast creation garden, although the Qi family would not have the resources of the Blissful Ocean clan, their combat power would still be there. No one would come looking for excitement. Therefore, neither Qi Haitao nor Qi Heng took Lin Yuan's promise seriously. However, both of them put on a grateful expression and thanked Lin Yuan profusely. After the matter was settled, Qi Heng and Qi Haitao were about to leave. At that moment they heard Lin Yuan say faintly, "That's right. The Miao family's beast creation garden has established a relationship with Whale Ocean Trading. They are currently cooperating with Whale Ocean Trading. I believe you should have heard that Whale Ocean Trading already has 2 experts who have become immortals. Don't spread the news that Sky City is helping the Blissful Ocean clan in a blood oath extreme duel. It's best if only the 2 of you know. When you go back, just treat it as Sky City rejecting the Blissful Ocean clan. If the Blissful Ocean clan leaks the news and the Miao family's beast creation garden hears about it, you will still have to die. If the Miao family's beast creation garden seeks Whale Ocean Trading's help, even if they seek Sky City's help, you will still have to die." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Qi Haitao and Qi Heng immediately understood what he meant. The Blissful Ocean clan's people were in a mess now. Someone might have secretly sided with the Miao family. If this matter spread to the Miao family's beast creation garden, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, Lin Yuan's tone was too cold. He only said that the Qi family had to die, but didn't the Emperor-class experts from Sky City have to die? Could it be that Sky City's city lord did not care about the Emperor-class experts' lives? Was it because Sky City had so many Emperor-class experts that they did not need to care about them? Or was it because Sky City's city lord himself was a scumbag? Lin Yuan, who had been misunderstood as a scumbag by Qi Haitao and Qi Heng, was actually not afraid that the beast creation garden would seek help from Whale Ocean Trading. This was because before coming to Star Web, Lin Yuan had received a message from the Void Shadow Devil. The Void Shadow Devil hoped to undergo a source baptism as soon as possible so that it could use the source baptism to break through to a Class 12-dimensional life form. There was still more than a day before the Blissful Ocean clan and the Miao family's beast creation garden's blood oath extreme duel. There was enough time for the Void Shadow Devil to undergo the source baptism and break through before the blood oath extreme duel. Therefore, when it helped the Blissful Ocean clan in the blood oath extreme duel, the Void Shadow Devil would already be at the immortal level. Even if the news was leaked and the Miao family's beast creation garden really borrowed an immortal expert's help from Whale Ocean Trading, the Void Shadow Devil might still be able to put up a fight. If it really could not beat it, it would be better to let the Void Shadow Devil hide in the shadows and not appear. In any case, with the Void Shadow Devil's concealment ability, unless an expert of the same grade possessed an immortal fae that specialized in scouting. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to discover the Void Shadow Devil's existence. Chapter 1270. Therefore, even if the news of Sky City helping the Blissful Ocean tribe in the Blood Oath duel got out, the Miao family's beast creation garden would seek help from Whale Ocean Trade's immortal experts. Qi Heng hurriedly promised, "City Lord, don't worry. City Governor, don't worry. It's already a great honor for our Blissful Sea tribe to have you help us. We, the Sea of Bliss, will naturally not cause trouble for Sky City. When I return to the family, I will say that the Blissful Ocean tribe did not seek help from Sky City. When filling in the Blood Oath dual member list, I will randomly fill in 3 names. When we arrive at the Extreme Arena, Lord Guhan will ask if we have confirmed the participants for the competition. At that time, I will temporarily replace Haitao with an expert that you have sent. I can use this opportunity to see how the Blissful Ocean tribe's people are. Qi Heng no longer cared about the Blissful Ocean tribe's former glory. Instead, he was thinking about how to make the Blissful Ocean tribe develop from scratch. This disaster to the Blissful Ocean tribe was also a test for the Blissful Ocean tribe. It helped Qi Heng test the hearts of every member of the Blissful Ocean tribe. The Miao family's Beast Creation Garden had initiated the Blood Oath duel with the Blissful Ocean tribe because the current family head, Qi Wangyang, was too arrogant and did not know what was good for him. Even if the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden had lost 2 Emperor-class experts to Sky City. After that, they were suppressed by the surging public opinion. However, as an old faction, the Blissful Ocean tribe should not have gone against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. However, as the family head, Qi Wangyang did not even know that a broken ship still had 3,000 nails. It was truly ironic. Qi Haitao's decisiveness made Qi Heng feel that Qi Haitao was more suitable to be the family head of the Blissful Ocean tribe than Qi Wangyang. Qi Wangyang would have to pay for his mistakes after this incident was over. In fact, a few days after Qi Wangyang had gone against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, Qi Heng had confirmed that the faction that was collecting the Aurora pollen in the market was not the Beast Creation Garden. The Beast Creation Garden had always been at odds with the Dew Immortal Garden, and plant phase were the Dew Immortal Garden's specialty. Therefore, the Miao family did not have much say in the plant-type Fey market. Through his investigations, Qi Heng discovered that the Dew Immortal Garden had always been controlling the quantity of spiritual materials like the Aurora pollen on the market. He also relied on his own huge inventory to create the illusion that there was a sufficient stock of Aurora pollen on the market. That was why the Blissful Sea tribe, who had been focused on the Far Sea fishery, did not notice the unusual amount of Aurora pollen in the market. Apart from the Dew Immortal Garden, Qi Heng also discovered that the Purchase with No Loss store on Star Web, which had become an internet celebrity, was also participating. This small Star Web store had been secretly increasing its stock of Aurora pollen by using blind barter. If an ordinary person did not rear angelfish of bliss, it would be useless for him to have so much Aurora pollen. Moreover, even if they were raising angelfish of bliss, there was no need to hoard such a large amount of Aurora pollen. In addition, spiritual materials like Aurora pollen were not easy to store and would go bad after 2 years. If a picky and delicate Fey like the angelfish of bliss were to eat the moldy Aurora pollen, it would soon be infected and die. Therefore, it could be confirmed that the depletion of Aurora pollen in the market was a joint scheme by the Purchase with No Loss store and the top faction, the Dew Immortal Garden. After investigating this point, Qi Heng did not have the time to be angry with the Dew Immortal Garden and the Purchase with No Loss store. The Miao family had initiated a Blood Oath extreme duel with the Blissful Sea tribe in the Beast Creation Garden. Now that he had obtained the promise from the Sky City Lord, it could be said that the dust had settled. After the dust settled, Qi Heng originally thought that he would hate the Dew Immortal Garden and the Purchase with No Loss store. However, at that moment Qi Heng could not hate the Dew Immortal Garden and the Purchase with No Loss store anymore. Instead, a strong sense of fear grew in his heart. The Dew Immortal Garden had experienced a major change a few years ago, but it was still firmly sitting on the throne of a top faction. This meant that the Dew Immortal Garden definitely had an Emperor-class expert presiding over it. In addition, the Blissful Sea tribe had participated in the Nix assembly and personally seen Sun Ningxiang standing in the circle of Her Holiness disciple. Even if Qi Heng had the guts of a tiger, he would not dare to provoke such a person. Moreover, the fact that the Dew Immortal Garden was willing to set up a trap with the Purchase with No Loss store meant that there was also a Colossus standing behind the store. Otherwise, there would not be a chance for the Purchase with No Loss store and the Dew Immortal Garden to cooperate. In addition, it was no secret that the Dew Immortal Garden and Sky City had a good relationship. If he dared to take revenge on the Dew Immortal Garden afterward, it was very likely that the Dew Immortal Garden would not have to make a move. In order to maintain its relationship with the Dew Immortal Garden, Sky City had taken the initiative to deal with the Qi family, which had become a stray dog. Qi Heng now only hoped that when the Qi family started over again, the Du Immortal Garden and the purchase with no loss store would let the Qi family off. They would not set up a trap for the Qi family anymore. If there was any problem on his side, Qi Heng would even be willing to take the initiative to look for them. He would ask for the forgiveness of the Du Immortal Garden and the purchase with no loss store. Between life and death, Qi Heng understood that the old power that he was so proud of was not that great of a background. If he provoked someone he should not provoke, he would also disappear from the world. Upon seeing that Qi Heng understood what he meant, Lin Yuan immediately asked him to leave. Lin Yuan's mind was now focused on the Void Shadow Devil's breakthrough. If the Void Shadow Demon could successfully advance to rank 12, his subordinates would finally have the power of an undying. Even if Lin Yuan did not rely on the Moon Empress' help, he could still act freely. In the Radiance Federation, the immortal combat power could already be considered a true pinnacle combat power. Furthermore, the Void Shadow Fiend wasn't as simple as advancing to a level 12-dimensional creature. Pouring 9,900 portions of Source-type energy into the Nihility Shadowless Demon's Source-type baptism was enough to raise the Nihility Shadowless Demon's life level. The Void Shadow Fiend that transformed into an apostle would obtain a second innate ability. At that time, the Nothingness Shadow Fiend would undergo a qualitative transformation in both strength and functionality. After Qi Haitao and Qi Wangyang left Sky City's private territory, Lin Yuan opened the territory's access control and left Star Web. After leaving Star Web, he returned to his room and entered the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone in a flash. Lin Yuan, who had returned to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, said to the Void Shadow Fiend, "The Void Shadow Fiend is in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Shadow, I've prepared the Source-type energy for your Source-type baptism. You have to rely on yourself for the rest. Given my current strength, even if you encounter danger during the metamorphosis, I may not be able to help." End of this chapter. Chapter 1272. Lu Tong hurriedly took the diamond face storage box from Lin Yuan's palm and thought to himself, "I wonder which fellow is so lucky to actually obtain a Fey that has undergone a positive mutation and evolution." A bronze Fey was a good evolution and mutation Fey that was hard to come by. Anyone who obtained one would probably jump with joy. It was impossible for anyone to dislike a Fey with a positive mutation. After instructing Lu Tong took the diamond Fey storage box and went back to work. At that moment, the Slaughter Sky Butterfly came to Lin Yuan's side and said, "That's right. Young Master Wendy Shiting and Bai Xian aren't in the territory right now. If you need anything from them, I'll help you find them immediately." Lin Yuan shook his head. As apostles, Wendy Shiting and Bai Xian shouldn't be like flowers in a greenhouse. Having the opportunity to go out and gain experience was a good thing. Furthermore, he had nothing to look for them in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone this time, so he did not need to call them back. Through his previous conversation with Bai Yan, Lin Yuan had learned about the division of the swamp region. Lin Yuan secretly placed the battlefield in the swamp world on Totonggang. Thus, as his apostles Shiting, Wendy, and Bai Xian needed to grow as fast as possible. Kill the sky butterfly, let the three of them train outside. If there's nothing urgent, there's no need to call them back. By the way, how has your bloodline recovered recently? The slaughterer sky butterfly replied. Thanks to the earth-type heavenly maiden grade elemental pearl that young master gave me, my bloodline has completely recovered. Also, I have just advanced to the monarch stage, so I need some time to adapt to the increase in my strength. However, if I want to improve my strength again, I won't be able to face a new creation tribulation in a short period of time. As it spoke, the slaughterer butterfly could not help but sigh softly. The slaughter sky butterfly, which possessed the supreme bloodline of the three butterfly species phase, had always been conceited about its strength improvement speed. During this period of time in the swamp world, the killer butterfly saw the strength of the dimensional creatures increase. He realized that compared to dimensional life forms, it was much more difficult for him to increase his strength as a Fey. The way dimensional creatures relied on devouring flesh to raise their levels reminded the slaughter butterfly of when it was still a slaughter worm. However, now that he had transformed into a slaughter butterfly, he wanted to rely on the slaughter worms to increase his strength. It was already impossible. It was not that the killer butterfly had not thought of asking him for some law crystals. Previously, he had used a large number of rule crystals to forcefully raise his strength to a creation breed. However, Lin Yuan had taken the initiative to give it to him previously. Now the killer butterfly had to ask Lin Yuan for it. The scourge sky butterfly was too embarrassed to open its mouth. At that moment the killer butterfly saw Lin Yuan handed a small wooden box. When the predator butterfly opened it, it was almost blinded by the small wooden chest full of law crystals. The killer butterfly only heard Lin Yuan's words. There are 2,000 law crystals in here. Take them and use them first. Tell Xiao to inform me when you're done. I'll prepare it for you. I will continue to provide you with law crystals until your strength increases to the 5 tribulations of creation. After you advance to the 5th tribulation of creation, you'll need the world crystal to increase your strength. It's really difficult for me to obtain a world crystal at the moment. Therefore, when it comes to the 5 tribulations of creation, you will need to work hard on your own. As he spoke, Lin Yuan could not help but think of the world origin crystal he had given to Princess and the 2 world crystals he had given to her. That world origin crystal had been completely absorbed by Princess. However, it would take her 7 days to absorb each of the 2 world crystals. In order to protect Xing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji, the Miao family's beast creation garden had been extorted 2 world crystals. One of them was produced by the Class 1 creation Holy Rejuvenation White Deer. The other one was from a Level 3 Monarch rank creation stage 2nd level Submerged Blue Whale. After Princess absorbed the Law Origin Crystal, compared to the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal, Princess had never absorbed the Wood Law and World Law. She undoubtedly wanted to absorb the Holy Rejuvenation White Deer's Law Crystal. But in the end, Lin Yuan still decided to let Princess absorb the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal. Lin Yuan had the healing type Fae, the Jasmine Lily, whose existence could already meet most of Lin Yuan's medical needs. Therefore, no matter how strategic the Holy Rejuvenation White Deer's Law Crystal was, the absorption order was slightly later than the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal. In the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal, the ocean was constantly changing. It also contained the ability to constantly switch between water and ice. This showed that the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal could give Lin Yuan immunity to both water and ice attributes at the same time. It could also provide Lin Yuan with a sword skill that combined water and ice. This sword skill could be used with Blue. In another 3 days, Princess would be able to finish absorbing the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Law Crystal. Lin Yuan's heart felt as though someone was scratching it. He was looking forward to the Submerged Ocean Blue Whale's Vast Water World, as well as the Vast Water World's sword skill in Holy Sword mode. After hearing Lin Yuan's words, the killer butterfly silently took the box. It wanted to quickly increase its strength. This way it could better protect its little hubby Purple Sky. In addition, the killer butterfly had already seen how rich Lin Yuan was. Therefore, it was not very surprised that Lin Yuan had given it 2,000 law crystals. However, after receiving a crate of law crystals, the killer butterflies should be quite happy. Compared to the law crystals themselves, what made it even happier was that this box of law crystals had been given by eunuch Lin. This showed that Lin Yuan loved his daughter-in-law very much. After receiving Lin Yuan's law crystals, the slaughter sky butterfly immediately found a place to absorb them to increase its strength. After settling everything, Lin Yuan lowered his head and spoke to his shadow. Let's begin. As Lin Yuan's voice fell, the Void Shadow Demon's figure appeared 50 meters in front of Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's hand trembled when he saw the solemn Void Shadow Demon. He poured the 9,900 portions of Source-type power that the princess had prepared in advance into the Void Shadow Devil's body. After the Source-type energy entered the Void Shadow Fiend's body, there was no phenomenon. However, with the Void Shadow Demon's body as the center, the entire world was instantly covered in a layer of shadow. Large swathes of shadows kept surging out of the Void Shadow Demon's body, causing its face to reveal an expression of both pain and joy. However, the joy on the Void Shadow Demon's face soon disappeared. This was because the shadows shooting out of the Void Shadow Demon's body seemed to have instantly turned into knives, turning the Void Shadow Demon's body into a hornet's nest. End of chapter. Chapter 1273. However, even if its body had turned into a hornet's nest, the surging shadows still didn't stop. The Void Shadow Devil's body was constantly being destroyed by the shadows. Upon seeing this scene, Lin Yuan suddenly felt that the Void Shadow Devil's breakthrough was very similar to when he had consumed the geocentric jade milk. After consuming the geocentric jade milk, his body had also been constantly being destroyed and reconstructed. After countless reconstructions, his body had undergone earth-shattering changes. However, at that time he had been unable to move due to the pain of his body's reconstruction. However, the Void Shadow Devil was able to move its body willfully under the intense pain. The Void Shadow Devil seemed to want to relieve the pain as it used its 3-inch-long purplish-black nails to scratch its body. The sharp nails made the Void Shadow Devil's already broken body look even more pitiful, and it also made Lin Yuan secretly worried. However, after scratching twice, the Void Shadow Devil's purplish-black nails fell off one by one. Afterward, the pure black nails suddenly grew out of the Void Shadow Devil's fingers. The newly grown nails became even sharper and longer. The pure black nails continued to scratch more wounds on the Void Shadow Devil's body. The increase in the number of wounds also caused the Void Shadow Devil's shadow to surge out at an increasingly faster speed. At that moment, the Void Shadow Devil's body suddenly blended into the shadows, and the world in front of it turned dark. After a few hours, there were still no movements in the dark world. Just as Lin Yuan was worried about the Void Shadow Devil's situation and was about to summon it, the Void Shadow Devil's figure appeared 50 meters in front of Lin Yuan again. When the Void Shadow Devil appeared again, the shadows in the world seemed to have found a home and retracted back into the Void Shadow Devil's body. The receding shadows finally revealed the Void Shadow Devil's appearance. If Lin Yuan wasn't certain that this life form was Shadow, he wouldn't have imagined that this life form had evolved from the dimensional life form, the Void Shadow Devil. The Class 11 8th Tribulation Void Shadow Devil's body was green and purple. Although it had a humanoid body, no matter how one looked at it, the brutal and cold aura made the Void Shadow Devil look like an uncivilized beast. It was unknown if the Class 12 Void Shadow Devil had been living in the human world for a period of time. It was used to the appearance of humans and didn't deliberately imitate them. As long as one did not look at its face, the Void Shadow Demon looked very much like a spirit chi professional. Previously, the Void Shadow Fiend was about 1.8 meters tall. Even though its body was thin, its muscles still carried a sense of sturdiness unique to abyss-dimensional creatures. After leveling up to level 12, the Void Shadow Fiend was only about 1.7 meters tall and its body had become thinner and more bony. The sturdiness of his muscles was completely hidden under his skin. This kind of height and build was undoubtedly more suitable for the Void Shadow Fiend's assassination style. Actually, that wasn't the only change in the Void Shadow Fiend's appearance. The purple and green colors on the Void Shadow Demon's body had completely disappeared. Only black and white were left. The Void Shadow Demon's skin was white, his hair was white, and his eyebrows were white. His eyes, lips, and nails had all turned pure black, the same color as the shadows in the darkness. Although the teeth of the Void Shadow Demon were still the same as before, it would still reveal its black lips. However, the transformed Void Shadow Fiend was undoubtedly more in line with human aesthetics. The current Void Shadow Fiend was undoubtedly much more pleasing to the eye than before. At the same time, on the back of the Void Shadow Fiend's right hand, there was a totem that was covered by a large amount of shadows. This totem symbolized the identity of the Void Shadow Fiend's apostle. The Void Shadow Fiend observed himself through the shadow, feeling happy and conflicted at the same time. The Void Shadow Fiend was a low-level demon that was looked down upon in the Abyss world because of its thin body. Its greatest wish in life was to be able to become a behemoth like the Horned Demon. It wanted to use its sturdy body to gain the respect of other demons and win the heart of the succubus. Who would have thought that after becoming stronger, it would also become smaller? No. It had become shorter and thinner. This was equivalent to a programmer who had always wanted to be promoted and get a raise. But when its salary increased from 10,000 to 20,000, before it could be happy, it realized that its head was bald. This was probably the feeling in the Void Shadow Fiend's heart. The Void Shadow Fiend was afraid that Lin Yuan would despise its current appearance. The Void Shadow Fiend thought in its heart, Lin Yuan wouldn't despise me like the other abyssal demons because I became thinner and shorter, right? At that moment, the Void Shadow Fiend saw Lin Yuan walking toward it and saying, Shadow, your current appearance is much more pleasing to the eye. Shadow, your current appearance is much more pleasing to the eye. As long as you wear a mask that can cover your mouth, even if you walk outside, no one will notice anything abnormal. The Void Shadow Fiend was relieved when it heard Lin Yuan's words. In any case, Lin Yuan did not hate his appearance after becoming shorter and thinner after advancing. Moreover, Lin Yuan's praise made the Void Shadow Fiend no longer resist the changes in its height and body shape. This was because in the Void Shadow Fiend's world, there was nothing more important than making the Lord Ruler that it served happy. After checking the changes in the Void Shadow Fiend's body, Lin Yuan took out a set of spirit chi clothes and threw it to the Void Shadow Fiend. When the Void Shadow Fiend saw Lin Yuan throw the clothes to it, it hurriedly thanked him. Then it carefully put on the clothes, afraid that its sharp nails would slip and tear the clothes. Now that the Void Shadow Fiend had reached the immortal level, Lin Yuan knew that he could no longer use Morbius True Data to find out the Void Shadow Fiend's attributes. However, Lin Yuan was very curious about the changes in the Void Shadow Fiend's original talent, Fleeing Shadow, and what its new talent was. The Void Shadow Fiend had already pledged its loyalty to him, so he could just ask about its talent. The Void Shadow Fiend had no reason not to tell him. Therefore Lin Yuan asked the Void Shadow Fiend. After the Void Shadow Fiend became an apostle, did your talent Fleeing Shadow and Slaughter Shadow improve in any way? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the Void Shadow Fiend quickly replied. Lord Ruler, based on my talent Fleeing Shadow and Slaughter Shadow, I can hide in the shadow of any object to conceal my body. Advancing to an apostle did not significantly improve my Fleeing Shadow ability. Still, only targets that are 2 levels higher than me can sense me. However, when I attack the shadow of other targets while in the Slaughter Shadow state, I will apply a shattering effect on the inanimate object. When attacking the shadow of an inanimate object, the damage will be reflected back to the main body. Upon hearing the Void Shadow Fiend's words, Lin Yuan's eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 1274. Based on the Void Shadow Demon's reply, Lin Yuan knew that the Void Shadow Demon's apostle talent, Fleeing Shadow, and Slaughter Shadow's improvement lay in its shattering effect on inanimate objects. Moreover, the damage to living beings was doubled. The Void Shadow Fiend was a dimensional creature that used assassination as its combat method. His innate ability, Fleeing Shadow/Slaughter Shadow, multiplied the lethality of the Void Shadow Fiend. This allowed the Void Shadow Fiend to effectively attack targets stronger than itself. Upon seeing Lin Yuan's expression, the Void Shadow Demon knew that Lin Yuan was very satisfied with the improvement of his innate specialty, Fleeing Shadow/Slaughter Shadow. Lin Yuan's satisfaction made the Void Shadow Devil exceptionally happy. Hence, the Void Shadow Demon wanted to prove himself. Before Lin Yuan could ask what the Void Shadow Demon's new talent was, it had already spoken. Lord Sovereign, the innate ability I obtained after advancing to an apostle is called Shadow Stinger Dorsal Stinger. In my opinion, Shadowthorn Stinger is much stronger than Fleeing Shadow/Slaughtering Shadow. Shadow Stinger Backstinger allows me to lock onto a shadow target within range and launch a backstab attack on this shadow target, appearing behind the target through the shadow. When I use Shadowthorn Backstab on a specific target, all other targets with shadows within the range will have their eyes covered by the shadow and enter a blind state. Moreover, when I pierce my nails into the target's body, I can also use my nails to absorb the target's vitality to recover the injuries I receive. Upon hearing the Void Shadow Demon's words, Lin Yuan nearly applauded for it. If it was really as the Void Shadow Demon said, then the innate ability Shadowthorn Stinger Back that the Void Shadow Demon obtained after advancing to an apostle really was a bit too powerful. Its innate specialty, Shadow Stinger Dorsal Stinger, allows the Void Shadow Demon to teleport within a certain range using its shadow. Moreover, he was moving behind the target. Under normal circumstances, the back of any life form would be the blind spot of that life form. It was equivalent to a position where the target could not defend immediately. This position might not necessarily be the target's weakness, but it could greatly increase the success rate of the Void Shadow Demon's attack. This was an ability that the Nether Shadow Fiend had obtained without activating the Shadowthorn Stinger. When Nether Shadow Fiend actively activated Shadowthorn Stinger, it could apply a blind control effect to all targets within its range. This would effectively prevent other units from rescuing the Shadowless Demons. This greatly increased the success rate of the Void Shadow Fiend's assassination. The assassin squad that Shadow formed by taking in Void Shadow Devils as believers was enough to take on the responsibility of Sky City's sharp blade in the dark. There were not many Void Shadow Devils among the Abyss Demons and it was very difficult to encounter them. However, this was not a difficult thing for Lin Yuan. When the Class 6 Abyss dimensional rift opened and Long Tao presided over the development of the faction in the Abyss world, he would let Long Tao help him pay special attention to find void shadow devils. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of the faith plunder that Bai Lan had obtained when she reached Platinum in the Spirit Lock spatial zone the night before. Faith plunder allowed Bai Lan's power of faith to be injected into the target who could control the power of faith. The intensity of the power of faith in the target's body would be filled. This was the ability of faith plunder in the aspect of giving. Plunder showed that Bai Lan could use her own power of faith as a measure to seize control of the power of faith of the target whose power of faith was lower than her own. Faith plunder was strong, but the power of faith in Bai Lan's body was limited. However, one should not forget that Bai Lan's gold faith possession allowed Lin Yuan to fuse with Bai Lan. He could inject his own power of faith into Bai Lan's body and fuse with her power of faith. This allowed Lin Yuan to use faith plunder while fusing with Bai Lan, which was equivalent to using Lin Yuan's own faith as the standard. It could give and suppress other targets who could control the power of faith. Looking at the totem in the Void Shadow Devil's hand in front of him, Lin Yuan planned to try the effect of Bai Lan's Platinum Faith Plunder. Anyway, Lin Yuan had used faith possession in front of the Void Shadow Devil and turned into a mermaid. Thus, Lin Yuan had nothing to be embarrassed about now. Chapter 1275. Therefore, Lin Yuan immediately used Blue's faith possession to fuse with it. Shadow was a little embarrassed when Lin Yuan touched its head. Just as it was about to speak, it saw Lin Yuan transform into his body of domination. Last time, Lin Yuan had transformed into his body of domination and only dared to sneak a glance before looking away. It was afraid that its gaze would profane Lin Yuan's body of domination. However, at that moment, Lin Yuan's body of domination's breathtaking beauty deeply shocked Shadow. Now that it saw Lin Yuan's body of domination again, Shadow was still stunned. Lin Yuan's body of domination made the Void Shadow Fiend nervous. It thought that Lin Yuan had found something unusual. According to legends, the body of domination was often when the ruler was about to use its power. At this moment, the Void Shadow Demon heard Lin Yuan's words. I want to use you to test one of my abilities. My ability won't harm you, so you don't have to be nervous. If you feel any discomfort during the experiment, tell me immediately. I will also carefully observe your situation. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Shadow hurriedly said, Lord Ruler. Lord Sovereign, feel free to experiment with Shadow. I might be small, but my body is very strong. After saying that, Shadow stood on the spot without any defense, ready to let Lin Yuan do whatever he wanted. For Shadow, its body could be tested by the Lord Ruler. It was definitely a great honor for it. When Lin Yuan got Shadow's response, he immediately lifted his fishtail. The power of faith instantly gushed out of the shrine in Lin Yuan's soul. Lin Yuan's fluttering long hair instantly turned from blue to a rich amber color. 12 amber water pillars soared into the sky from under Lin Yuan's feet. The spinning water pillars swept up the clouds, and the power of faith in them made Shadow widen its eyes. It was shocked by the massive power of faith in Lin Yuan's body of domination. Then Lin Yuan pointed at Shadow, and the 12 amber water pillars fused into a gentle water belt. The amber-colored rippling water shot straight into Ying's body. Shadow found that the power of faith in the totem on the back of its hand was increasing rapidly. Since Shadow had just become an apostle, no matter how strong it was, the power of faith in the Shadow totem was still extremely weak. In just a few seconds, the power of faith in the Shadow totem rose from extremely weak to slightly above weak. Shadow muttered to himself as he sensed the power of faith in the totem. How is this uncomfortable? This is simply too comfortable, okay? The power of faith was the source of the apostle's power. Shadow had heard of the power of a ruler, but he had never heard that a ruler could use his faith power to increase the faith power of an apostle. But before Obscurus could experience this comfortable feeling for a long time, Obscurus knew what true discomfort was. Chapter 1276. When facing a target like the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, the Void Shadow Fiend would not be able to injure the target. It would be severely injured by the shield's recoil ability. Now that the Shadow Saint Art's attack method had reduced this disadvantage. Shadow, your holy art has added an attack method for you. This hidden killing method will definitely have a good effect in battle. I'm going to continue to try my ability. After saying that, Lin Yuan once again used Faith Plunder on Shadow. However, this time Lin Yuan did not use faith plunder but the ability to control the power of faith. The moment Lin Yuan used the skill, a huge phantom formed by the power of faith appeared behind him in his mermaid state. The moment the amber phantom and Lin Yuan's finger pointed at Shadow, a strange light flashed in front of them. Shadow found that it had lost the ability to mobilize the power of faith. When Lin Yuan used faith plunder on Shadow, he did not take back the power of faith that he had injected into Shadow. He did not take back the power of faith that he had injected into Shadow. In other words, he could rely on the power of faith in his body to firmly suppress the apostles whose power of faith was below average. It made the apostles with lower than average levels of faith lose their control over the power of faith. This was almost no different from lowering the apostles' life forms and turning them back into dimensional life forms. Moreover, with the strength of the power of faith in his body, he could not only suppress the apostles whose power of faith was below average. This ability had a strong strategic significance for his development in the dimensional world. After experimenting with faith plunder, Lin Yuan removed the suppression on Shadow's power of faith. At the same time, he took back the power of faith that he had injected into Shadow. The apostles could recover the power of faith consumed in battle, but Lin Yuan's power of faith was consumed. Therefore, Lin Yuan would not let the power of faith be consumed to increase the strength of the apostles' power of faith. Shadow, Lizard, Ting, Wendy, and Bai Yan should rely on themselves to increase the strength of the power of faith. It was better to use this method as a trump card against a strong enemy. Bai Yan believed that he was a ruler and followed him, treating Blue's water of faith as a ruler treasure. Under this premise, as long as Lin Yuan did not reveal any flaws and Bai Yan saw through him, he would not be a ruler. Then Bai Yan would be the strongest combat power under him. Through faith plunder, he should be able to increase Bai Yan's power of faith to an extremely high level. This type of power of faith was already at the peak level among apostles. If he were to buff Bai Yan, then it wouldn't be impossible for him to break through the East Marsh Palace. Lin Yuan coveted the sacred source life forms in East Marsh Palace. After giving Shadow a ball of water of faith, he left the swamp world. In Miao Zhinshan's study in the Miao family's beast creation garden. Miao Zhua and Miao He stood on Miao Zhinshan's left and right, reporting the situation to Miao Zhinshan softly. Miao Zhinshan nodded in satisfaction when he heard Miao Zhua's report. Compared to Miao He, Miao Zhua was undoubtedly more satisfactory to Miao Zhinshan. However, Miao Zhua's soul spirit was injured, and he couldn't become a Class 4 creation master. From this point of view, it would be difficult to convince the masses to appoint Miao Zhua as the next patriarch of the Miao family. After being promoted by him, Miao He was no longer a wastrel like before. It was rare for him to be so serious. However, Miao He was lacking in strategy and courage compared to Miao Zhua. Miao Zhinshan asked Miao Zhua, what do you think is the possibility of Sky City helping the Blissful Sea clan in the Blood Oath duel with our beast creation garden? Miao Zhua knew that his grandfather had been worrying about this problem for the past 2 days. His grandfather was the one who had initiated the Blood Oath duel, so he definitely felt that Sky City wouldn't help the Blissful Sea clan in the Blood Oath duel. However, Miao Zhua's eyes flickered. He didn't want to follow his grandfather's train of thought. Following his grandfather's train of thought would only make him happy for a while. There wouldn't be any tangible benefits if he succeeded, but if he failed, his grandfather would think that he was short-sighted. After thinking about it, Miao Zhua felt that he should give his grandfather a warning. Even though this precaution might make Grandpa unhappy. Grandfather, I think we still have to be wary of Sky City. Previously, when we helped the Zheng family in the Blood Oath duel with Sky City will inevitably take revenge. Miao Zhinshan frowned when he heard Miao Zhua's words. He turned to Miao He and asked, what do you think? When Miao He heard Miao Zhua's suggestion, he couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Wasn't Miao Zhua making trouble for his grandfather by saying this? Grandfather was the one who initiated the Blood Oath duel. What difference was there between Miao Zhua saying this and slapping his grandfather's face? Grandfather, you should have investigated the Aurora Pollen incident. The Aurora Pollen incident against the Blissful Sea clan has been planned for several months. Sun Ning Xiang of the Du Immortal Garden is also involved in it. The Du Immortal Garden is on good terms with Sky City, and the Du Immortal Garden is targeting the Blissful Sea clan. According to their relationship, there's no reason for Sky City to help the Blissful Sea clan. Moreover, we've planted many spies in the Blissful Sea clan over 10 years ago. It's possible that one or two of our spies would be discovered by the Blissful Sea clan. Chapter 1277. It was a good thing that the Beast Creation Garden had 7 more Emperor-class experts, but some of them had become arrogant because of their increased strength. Miao Zhinshan was very dissatisfied. To put it bluntly, these people had only been Emperor-class experts. They had relied on the resources of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to climb up step by step. However, their arrogant attitude made Miao Zhinshan feel that if he died one day, Miao He and Miao Zhuo would definitely not be able to suppress them. Therefore, Miao Zhinshan decided to send them to participate in the Blood Oath duel with the Blissful Sea clan. It would be fine if Sky City did not help the Blissful Sea clan. Even if they did, Miao Zhinshan would not feel too much pain in losing a few Emperor-class experts. As Miao Zhinshan's discomfort and anxiety grew stronger, the Blood Oath duel between the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and the Blissful Sea clan officially began. Lin Yuan did not plan to participate in this Blood Oath duel. As the City Lord of Sky City, there was no need for him to join in the fun since it did not affect Sky City itself. Lin Yuan's current attention was all on the sword skill that he was about to obtain and the large whale fall under the Blissful Sea clan's distant sea. He simply let Shadow go to the extreme battle arena alone. A few hours later, Shadow would bring back the creation breed Fey carcass and world crystal. He did not need to care about the Blissful Sea clan's experts' lives. He instructed Shadow to let the experts from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden summon a few more Feys before attacking. That way he would be able to gain more. Lin Yuan did not care about the Blood Oath duel between the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and the Blissful Sea clan, but the other factions and onlookers did not think so. The Zheng family's Blood Oath duel against Sky City as a veteran faction had caused such a huge commotion. Not to mention that this matter involved a veteran faction and a top faction. There had always been speculation on the internet that Sky City might participate in the Blood Oath battle between the Beast Creation Garden and the Blissful Ocean tribe to take revenge on the Miao family. Sky City was the hottest topic on the internet, and the popular posts were almost all discussions about this matter. The discussions even suppressed the gossip of a top faction's core member being cuckolded and a veteran faction's family head being abused by his wife. Lin Yuan needed to harvest the power of faith from the main world, so he, who usually never gossiped, patiently browsed through the posts related to sky castles. As the Radiance Federation's second world, there was no lack of people making a living. Professional reporters would usually report the truth according to the facts. Even if they were to exaggerate, they had to be based on facts. As long as one focused on a hot topic, one's thoughts would spread, leading to all kinds of conspiracy theories, constructs, and conjectures. Lin Yuan did not know whether to laugh or cry at these conspiracy theories and conjectures. If Lin Yuan wasn't the person involved, he would have been fooled by Red's conjecture and hypothesis. Let's see what the topics of these gossip posts are. The City Lord of Sky City scolds the Beast Creation Garden for being too high profile in the conference hall, saying that those who don't help the Sea of Bliss aren't true men. Breaking news. The strongest combat power of Sky City is no match for the Beast Creation Garden. According to reports, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and Sky City have reached a private settlement. There were plenty of discussions and curses under all kinds of posts, but Lin Yuan didn't want to intervene. That was because these gossipy posts spread the fame of Sky City to a certain extent. Lin Yuan Hong kept Sky City's popularity high. Even Lin Yuan, the City Lord of Sky City, was often mentioned. It could be said that the Blood Oath duel between the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and the Sea of Bliss had become the center of the entire Radiance Federation's discussion. Even ordinary people who weren't spirit chi professionals would comment on this matter when they went to buy the usnea vines and jasmine lilies in the morning. As soon as the Blood Oath duel started, 3 Emperor-class experts flew out from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. The appearance of these 3 Emperor-class experts made many veteran factions and top factions who knew about the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden secretly shocked. They thought that Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe's deaths would hurt the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. In the end, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden produced another 3 Emperor-class experts. The Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's foundation was rather deep. However, when the 3 members of the Sea of Bliss went up, the factions and reporters present couldn't help but feel dispirited. The Sea of Bliss members participating in the Blood Oath duel were simply too weak. The Sea of Bliss elder Qi Heng was not present, and so was the family head Qi Wangyang. Only the young family head Qi Haitao brought along 2 new king-class experts. Such a lineup was simply incomparable to the Miao family's Beast Creation Gardens lineup of 3 Emperor-class experts. However, when the Extreme Battle Arena's manager Gu Han was confirming the final lineup, the Sea of Bliss member Qi Haitao, who had a bitter look on his face, requested to be replaced. In the end, no one saw Qi Haitao's replacement walk up the Extreme Battle Arena. Gu Han had a strange expression as she announced the official start of the Blood Oath duel between the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and the Sea of Bliss. This caused the noisy scene to immediately fall into a strange silence. This scene was simply too similar to the battle between Sky City and the Jing family. It was both 2 against 3, and there was a huge disparity in strength between the 2 sides and the 3 sides. The strange silence on the field was soon broken, and many of the audience exclaimed in surprise. "Damn, what's going on? Why are there only 2 people left from the Sea of Bliss? I clearly remember that the young man who just went down said that someone was going to replace him. Where is that person? Anyway, I feel that they will die sooner or later. The Sea of Bliss's young family head Qi Haitao has just gone down. I heard that Qi Haitao is quite brave. Since he chose to go up, he won't back down. Also, if there really isn't anyone to replace him, Master Gu Han wouldn't just announce the official start of the Blood Oath duel without asking any questions. Is history going to repeat itself? Could it be that Sky City is really helping the Sea of Bliss in the Blood Oath duel? Sky City is domineering. The Beast Creation Garden was so pretentious last time, it's time to teach them a lesson. Miao Zhinshan wasn't sure if Sky City would help the Sea of Bliss, so he wanted to understand the situation as soon as possible. Miao Zhinshan personally led the team to the scene. Seeing the situation on the Sea of Bliss's side, Miao Zhinshan's face suddenly darkened. He cursed in his heart. At this moment, Miao Zhinshan immediately released his peak-level Emperor-class aura and used it to sweep across the entire Extreme Battle Arena. As a peak-level Emperor-class expert, Miao Zhinshan's unrestrained release of his aura directly affected the audience who came to watch the Blood Oath duel. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1278. In response, Gu Han immediately snorted coldly. He also released his aura to warn Miao Zhinshan. The reason Miao Zhinshan released his aura was to find out if there were any experts from the Blissful Sea tribe present in the arena. After probing for a while, Miao Zhinshan was sure that he hadn't detected any abnormalities in the Sea of Bliss. However, Miao Zhinshan was not happy. Instead, his heart sank. The last time he had arrived, he had only seen Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's corpses, but he had not seen anyone from Sky City who had the strength to kill them. The situation was still the same. A bad thought flashed through Miao Zhinshan's mind. Could it be that there was an immortal-level existence in Sky City? If that was the case, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden would not be able to fight against Sky City. He had schemed against Sky City for so long, so how was he any different from a mouse scheming against a cat? Of course, no matter how heavy his heart was, Miao Zhinshan still had to apologize to Gu Han immediately. Gu Han was backed by the chief guard of the Spirit Guards and His Holiness Iron Prison, so it would not end well for him to offend her. It wasn't just Miao Zhinshan and the audience. Even the 3 emperors from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden felt that something was amiss. He immediately summoned his main Fae with a grave expression. The 2 king stage experts from the Blissful Ocean tribe were prepared to fight to the death. Because the 2 of them had not received any news from Qi Heng and Qi Haitao, they were completely kept in the dark. Looking at the 3 summoned creation breed Faes, the 2 king-class experts didn't even have the courage to summon their Faes to resist. Shadow remembered Lin Yuan's instructions and did not attack immediately after the 3 Emperor-class experts from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden summoned their creation seed Faes. Instead, he was waiting for the trio to summon their other Faes. Otherwise, Shadow would feel that it had let down Lin Yuan's entrustment if it only brought back 3 creation breed Faes corpses and 3 world crystals. The 3 great Emperor-level experts of the Miao family looked in the direction of the 2 king-level experts of the Blissful Sea tribe suspiciously. They didn't dare to attack first. The 2 king-class experts of the Blissful Sea tribe had completely lost the courage to resist. If it wasn't for the tighter sphincter muscles after becoming an A-rank spirit chi professional, The extreme arena had already been dirted by the two king-class experts of the Blissful Sea tribe. Two sides. One side was suspicious and the other side was fearful. This caused the situation in the extreme arena to be in a deadlock. The discussions became louder and louder. Finally, the three emperors from the Miao family's beast creation garden exchanged glances. They each summoned a myth-breed fae and prepared to launch a probing attack on the Blissful Sea tribe's side. As a result, the moment the three emperor-class experts from the Miao family's beast creation garden summoned their myth-breed faes, the black figure that had been away from the extreme arena for a week flashed again. After 9 flashes, 3 dead emperor-class experts, 3 dead creation breed faes, and 3 dead myth-breed faes appeared on the arena's ground. The 3 dead emperor-class experts were cleanly split into 2 just like before. However, the corpses of the 3 dead creation breed faes and myth breed faes were absolutely intact. However, there was a large hole in his back. Previously, Shadow did not know that the faes' corpses were useful to Lin Yuan and had rashly split the 2 creation breed faes' bodies into 2. This had made Shadow feel guilty for a long time. This time, Shadow intentionally kept the faes' corpse intact. After the attack, Shadow entered the corpse's shadow and stored it in the diamond fae storage box. Then he turned around and prepared to return to the return from faraway mansion to report to Lin Yuan. Shadow's order was to help the Blissful Sea tribe kill the 3 emperor-class experts, and ensure the Blissful Sea tribe's victory in the Blood Oath Extreme battle. Now Ying had completed her mission perfectly. Even after Ying had left for a long time, the spectator stands of the Polar Arena were still silent. Everyone had already guessed that Sky City would help the Sea of Bliss tribe in the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family's beast creation garden. However, the truth was right there and it was hard for people to react for a while. According to the rules of the Blood Oath Extreme battle, not only did the beast creation garden lose 3 emperor-level experts, but according to the rules of the Blood Oath Extreme battle, 3 emperor-level experts had died. The life and death of the Miao family's beast creation garden were in the hands of the old Paradise Sea clan. Would a top faction like the beast creation garden perish just like that? The reporters started to secretly think about how they should write the report on the Blood Oath Extreme battle when they returned. They came to watch the battle between the Miao family's beast creation garden and the Sea of Bliss tribe. After they came back to their senses, they shared the results of the Blood Oath Extreme battle. The public's opinion exploded in an instant. Sky City's reputation also shot up at the speed of a rocket. At that moment, Lin Yuan, who was standing in the courtyard and staring at the auspicious swallow, suddenly felt the faith light spots in the shrine increase exponentially. Although these new light spots of faith were very weak, they were growing brighter and brighter at an extremely fast speed. In just a few minutes, Lin Yuan felt that the power of faith in his shrine had increased by at least 20%. This was just the beginning of an event that would ferment. Lin Yuan felt that with his identity as the Sky City Lord, the power of faith in the shrine could easily double. Lin Yuan couldn't help but feel exceptionally happy. At the same time, the sudden increase in the power of faith light spots in the shrine let Lin Yuan know that the Blood Oath Extreme battle between the Miao family's beast creation garden and the Paradise Sea clan had officially come to an end. Obscurus should be back in the mansion soon. Sure enough, as soon as this thought appeared in Lin Yuan's mind, Obscurus appeared in front of Lin Yuan. Obscurus handed the diamond fae storage box that Lin Yuan had just given it in the morning back to Lin Yuan. Lord Ruler, there are a total of 3 Class 11 lifeforms and 3 lifeforms below Class 11 in the diamond fae storage box. Please take a look. Lin Yuan looked at Obscurus's expectant expression and could not help but laugh as he took the diamond fae storage box. Lin Yuan did not need to look to know that the 3 creation breed and 3 myth breed corpses in the diamond fae storage box must be relatively intact. As a demon that lived in the abyss world, Obscurus was cold and cruel. However, it was abnormally young and even a little cute when it came to emotions. Lin Yuan naturally had to satisfy Obscurus's simple expectations. Therefore Lin Yuan praised Obscurus. Looking at Obscurus's satisfied smile, Lin Yuan realized that dimensional lifeforms and faes actually had many common characteristics. The biggest characteristic was that faes and dimensional lifeforms had very pure feelings. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1279. Lin Yuan could not help but think that when the Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift opened, the Radiance Federation and the Abyss World would be connected through it. Perhaps abyssal demons could also become spirit chi professionals' assistants or be domesticated by spirit chi professionals to integrate into the main world's life. After praising Shadow, Lin Yuan carefully checked the Fey corpses in the diamond Fey storage box. Previously in the Miao family's beast creation garden, these Emperor-class experts' Feys had been in the process of becoming creation breeds. Lin Yuan had taken away the creation earth veins that had descended after the 7 creation breed Feys had survived the creation calamity. At that time, Lin Yuan had 7 grape-sized golden pearls formed from the creation earth veins. Therefore Lin Yuan was very clear about what the 7 newly promoted Emperor-class experts' creation breed Feys were. These 7 Emperor-class experts had been pinnacle Emperor-class experts before. Their main Feys were carefully selected and their laws were not bad at all. Therefore Lin Yuan was indeed envious of the creation breed Feys law worlds. After checking the 3 creation breed Feys corpses in the diamond Fey storage box, Lin Yuan's eyes suddenly lit up. This was because one of the 3 creation breed Feys happened to be the one that Lin Yuan coveted the most. This creation breed Fey was called the Prism Turtle. The Prism Turtle's law world was a simulated law world. It could use the simulated law world to imitate other Feys in battle and at the same time, imitate other Fey's abilities and exclusive skills. When facing a stronger Fey, the Prism Turtle would still be crushed by the other party even if it imitated the other party. However, when facing a weaker Fey, the Prism Turtle could perfectly show what it meant to be disgusting. I'll transform into your appearance, bully you and defeat you. Lin Yuan took out the Prism Turtle's world crystal from the diamond Fey storage box. Within the world crystal of the prismatic tortoise lay a large silver tortoise with a mirror-like shell that could reflect any image. The large tortoise lying in the world crystal looked ordinary, far less spectacular than the scenes in the world crystal of the holy healing white deer and the world crystal of the oceanic giant whale. However, if one looked closely at the world crystal of the prism turtle, one would find that each piece of the prism turtle's carapace seemed to be hiding a world. When these backplates were combined, it was as if they were overlapping worlds. The prism tortoise perfectly blended into every world, becoming a part of the world that should have existed. Lin Yuan did not know what kind of sword technique would appear after the princess absorbed the simulated law world. But no matter what, this sword skill was destined to be very flexible and ever-changing. As for the other 2 creation breed Feys in the diamond Fey storage box, they were also pretty good. However, it was not as dazzling as the prismatic tortoise's simulated law world. The world crystal of the shadow-bound mysterious snake was filled with flickering shadows. These shadows appeared to be in the state of the dead, howling miserably as they wandered about in the dusky world. The shadow of the dead formed a noose from time to time, trying to bind anything that could be grabbed. A giant serpent with a long gray horn on its head and sharp purplish-gray scales on its body was coiled around a stone pillar at the center of the world. It was like a grayish-purple chain that was tightly bound to the stone pillar. The shadow-binding confusing snake controlled the binding shadow world. Just like Shadow, it could control shadows during battle. However, Shadow's attack direction was like an offensive-type assassin that was adept at covert assassination. The shadow-binding confusing snake, which had comprehended the binding shadow world, was like a mage that commanded shadows to control. By relying on the shadows formed by the dead, it also had a certain spiritual attack ability. Lin Yuan reckoned that if the princess absorbed the binding shadow world crystal, she should be able to add a sword technique with control ability. However, Lin Yuan did not intend to let the princess absorb this binding shadow world crystal so quickly. Unless the princess had no other world crystals to absorb, Lin Yuan would only consider letting her absorb this binding shadow law crystal. Shadow was a derivative of darkness, and this binding shadow world crystal was ultimately a dark element world crystal. The princess's absorption of the binding shadow world crystal gave Lin Yuan dark element resistance. The dark death world already provided Lin Yuan with dark element resistance. Compared to specifically increasing dark element resistance, Lin Yuan preferred to develop it in all aspects. As for the third world crystal, it was a scorching sun world crystal produced in the ardent sun dragon centipede's body. The scorching sun dragon centipede was a fae with both fire and light attributes. The scorching sun law world that it grasped was also a world with both fire and light attributes. After the princess absorbed it, she would be able to give him resistance to the fire and light elements. Could be considered as strengthening his second layer of defense. Once the princess finished absorbing the roaring sun world's crystals, it would be much easier for Lin Yuan to fight Zhongzhe. Of course, the easy referred to before Zhongzhe's desolate sky-burning centipede's bloodline was purified. Now the heaven-burning Ho had upgraded its desolation bloodline and also grasped the top red plum meteorite flame. If he really fought with Zhongzhe, he wasn't sure if the fire elemental resistance provided by the princess would be enough. The ardent sun dragon centipede was a fae that specialized in large-scale magic damage. It was similar to Han Tianhe's main fae, the geocentric dragon's nail. After absorbing it, he should be able to obtain an extremely powerful sword technique that dealt mass damage. World crystals weren't that easy to obtain. Once the few world crystals he had on hand were all absorbed, he wouldn't be able to do so. Lin Yuan had to consider how to use the gold bead that he had obtained by absorbing the creation earth vein. It was worth Lin Yuan to think carefully about which kind of law world he should use these creation earth veins to strengthen in Princess Luoquan. Every part of a myth breed or creation breed fae was a treasure. He planned to give their corpses to the Mother of Bloodbath. He would let the Mother of Bloodbath absorb the blood energy within these myth breed phase and creation breed phase before splitting the spiritual ingredients. Leave behind the parts that are useful to creation masters. He might as well throw the meat to Duan He's main fae, purple demon, so that it could grow quickly. According to Lin Yuan's original plan, he would help the Blissful Sea clan settle the Blood Oath extreme battle with the Miao family in the Beast Creation Garden. He should take Lu Jia, the Mother of Bloodbath, and a few spirit craftsmen through the spatial tunnel to the Divine Wood Federation to continue training. However, the news that Qi Haitao had leaked to Lin Yuan made him dispel his plan to go to the Divine Wood Federation immediately. Compared to going to the Divine Wood Federation, what he needed to do now was to go to the island that the Sea of Bliss had purchased in the distant Sea of Raging Wave City. He wanted to check the situation of the large whale fall below the island. Before leaving Sky City's Star Web private territory, the Sea of Bliss Qi Heng had left his phone number. The Blissful Sea Tribe had just won the Blood Oath duel, and the Blissful Sea Tribe was about to contribute all of their resources to Sky City. Chapter 1280. At this time, Qi Heng must have a lot of things to do. Lin Yuan did not want to wait for Qi Heng to contact him after the time was up, so he simply called Qi Heng. At this moment, Qi Heng was standing in the camp of the Sea of Bliss tribe in the polar arena, enjoying the attention of the audience. Looking at the family head of the Miao family, Miao Zhenshan, who was in the Miao family's beast creation garden, Qi Heng suddenly felt that he was a cut above Miao Zhenshan. But this feeling only flashed by. This was because Qi Heng knew that the Blissful Ocean tribe had not won the Miao family's beast creation garden. Sky City had defeated the Miao family's beast creation garden. The Blissful Ocean clan and the Miao family were both failures. The resources of both sides would be swept clean by Sky City. Sky City, who had been hiding behind the scenes, was the biggest winner of this storm. For some reason, he recalled Sky City's City Lord's confidence when he met him in Sky City's Star Web private faction territory. Qi Heng had a feeling that the Lord of Sky City was the mastermind behind all of this. No matter what, after leaving the extreme battle arena, the Qi clan was like a rootless duckweed. Looking at Qi Wangyang's ecstatic and arrogant expression, Qi Heng couldn't hide his disgust. At that moment, Qi Heng's phone rang. Qi Heng picked up his phone and saw that it was an unknown number. At this time, someone called him. Qi Heng had already vaguely guessed who it was. Qi Heng didn't dare to delay and picked up the phone. The clear and pleasant voice of a young man sounded from the other end of the phone. The Blissful Ocean tribe has already defeated the Miao family's beast creation garden in the Blood Oath extreme battle. The Sky City has fulfilled its promise. Now it's the Blissful Ocean tribe's turn. Hearing this, Qi Heng channeled his spiritual power and formed a cyclone around him. Qi Heng said as he covered his mouth with his sleeve. Lord, our Qi family will not return to the Blissful Ocean clan's old house after the Blood Oath extreme duel. My lord, you can take over the Blissful Sea tribe's businesses at any time. If you don't want those spirit Qi professionals working in the Blissful Sea tribe, please give me a day's grace. I will dismiss all the workers for you. Lin Yuan nodded silently. Qi Heng had done a good job. Someone will take over the properties of the Blissful Sea tribe later. The spirit Qi professionals working in the Paradise Sea race will make their own arrangements. You don't have to worry about it. But you should remember what you said in Sky City's Star Web private faction territory, right? Now take me to see the large whale fall below the island. Upon hearing that, Qi Heng's expression froze slightly. He knew that Sky City's city lord was calling to verify the authenticity of Qi Haitao's information. If the news was true, then Sky City's promise to the Qi family would remain unchanged. If the news was not true, Sky City would probably seek revenge on the Qi family. However, Qi Heng had nothing to be afraid of, because there was indeed a large whale fall below the island. It was just that any large whale fall would be guarded by powerful sea beasts and sea race experts. Therefore, Qi Heng didn't dare to pay any attention to this huge whale fall even though it was right under the blissful sea tribe's island. They only dared to use the nutrients from the large whales that were swept to the surface by the ocean currents. Although Qi Haitao didn't say this at that time, Sky City's city lord should be able to understand. Please give me an hour. After an hour, I'll wait for you at the entrance of the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce. I want to solve the Qi family's internal problems during this hour. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan responded and hung up the phone. It would be a relatively long journey to Stormy Wave City. His ethereal jellyfish had never set up node tentacles along the route between the royal capital and Stormy Wave City. He could take advantage of this opportunity in the Journey Forest to set up ethereal jellyfish's tentacles along the route between the royal capital and Stormy Wave City. This would make it very convenient for him to go to Stormy Wave City in the future. Wen Yu originally wanted to go on this journey, but she thought of her strength and the matter of Sky City's Star Web private territory. She decided to stay in the mansion obediently. Since it was a long journey, Lu Jia and the Mother of Bloodbath began to make preparations. Ji Feng stayed in the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce to keep watch. Given his situation, it was not very convenient for him to move around outside. Unless he didn't summon his Fae to display his strength. Once Ji Feng's Fae was exposed, people would likely think of the Whale Ocean Trade Sea Sky's young family head who had disappeared for more than a decade. Qi Heng, who hung up the phone, looked at Qi Wangyang, who was ostentatiously waving at the audience, and snorted. Qi Heng pulled Qi Wangyang over and told him about the deal he and Qi Haitao had reached with Sky City's city lord on Star Web. When the insolent Qi Wangyang heard Qi Heng's words, his expression changed drastically and suddenly turned gloomy. Previously, he had seen a black shadow kill the 3 Emperor-class experts who had participated in the Blood Oath Extreme battle in the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. While Qi Wangyang was ecstatic, he secretly blamed Qi Heng and Qi Haitao for not even telling him about such a big thing. Qi Wangyang thought that Qi Heng and Qi Haitao must have paid a huge price to move Sky City. However, he didn't expect them to give away the entire blissful sea race. What use was 5 million radiance dollars? He couldn't even buy a few good quality angelfish of bliss. Was the Lord of Sky City trying to get rid of a beggar? In the end, before Qi Wangyang could shout, Qi Heng summoned a giant bear with blue flames on its body under everyone's gaze. After the giant bear was summoned, it slapped Qi Wangyang's head without any explanation. Qi Heng did not use much strength in this sudden slap, but it completely knocked Qi Wangyang out. At the same time that Qi Wangyang was knocked out, a blue flame entered Qi Wangyang's head. This slap stunned everyone in the Qi family, including Qi Haitao. It also stunned everyone in the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, Gu Han, the audience, the Star Web internet celebrities and the Star Web reporters. The Star Web reporters took photos while the Star Web celebrities posted the situation on the Star Web immediately. Only a fool wouldn't go for this kind of thing that came with its own popularity. Qi Heng didn't care about the reactions of the other people present. He used all his strength to prop up the spirit energy shield to envelop everyone in the Qi family. He turned around and looked at Qi Haitao. Haitao, from now on, you are the head of the Qi clan. Your father caused the downfall of the Qi family. The blissful ocean clan, which had been developing for dozens of years, was handed over to someone else. Now the Qi family is like a stray dog that needs to find another place to develop. Such a person is not fit to be the head of the Qi clan. My hellfire-cursed bear has placed a curse in Qi Wangyang's mind. As long as Qi Wangyang's spirit is not stronger than mine, he will not be able to remove the hellfire-cursed bear's curse. Chapter 1281. At this point, Qi Heng saw Qi Haitao's conflicted and worried eyes and paused for a moment before continuing. Even if Qi Wangyang wakes up, he can't use his spiritual energy to summon fays. I need to leave for a period of time to go to the distant sea. During this time you can decide how to deal with your father. If there is anyone in the family who is not satisfied with your management, I will help you settle it when you return. As he spoke, Qi Heng coldly glanced at the surrounding Qi family members. Qi Heng was not only saying these words for Qi Haitao to hear, but also for the other Qi family members to hear. In fact, the rest of the Qi family did not feel that there was anything wrong with Qi Heng's actions. Instead, he felt a sense of joy in his heart. Qi Wangyang's decision meant that the Qi family could only wait for their deaths. Every member of the Qi family who had faced death before hated Qi Wangyang. Therefore, no one in the Qi clan truly regarded Qi Wangyang as the clan master. Now that Qi Haitao was the Qi family's patriarch, Qi Wangyang couldn't summon fays and had become an ordinary person. In everyone's opinion, this was undoubtedly the best choice. The Qi family began to make promises to Qi Heng. Seeing everyone's reaction, Qi Heng turned around and left the extreme arena. While Qi Heng was speaking, the audience, star web reporters and star web celebrities all went crazy. Qi Heng's spirit energy barrier prevented his voice from spreading, so no one knew what Qi Heng was saying. However, it was clear that Qi Heng's words had something to do with knocking out the head of the Qi clan, Qi Wangyang. In just a few minutes, many posts about Qi Heng knocking Qi Wangyang out appeared on the star web. These posts were all speculating about the reason why Qi Heng knocked out Qi Wangyang. These speculations, without exception, all added to the popularity of this blood oath extreme battle. This made more people pay attention to Sky City because of this blood oath extreme battle. Qi Heng, who was heading to the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, found 3 people standing at the entrance. The masks on the faces of these 3 people clearly indicated their identities. Qi Heng's eyes were fixed on the figure who was wearing a white and blue spirit Qi outfit and a mask with the pattern of the majestic city in the sky on his face. Back when he was in Sky City's Star Web private faction territory, Qi Heng had been thinking about how to get Sky City to agree to help the Blissful Sea tribe in the Blood Oath extreme battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Hence, he did not pay too much attention to the Lord of Sky City. However, the phone call just now made Qi Heng realize that the Lord of Sky City was not very old, because the voice on the phone was very youthful. At that time, Qi Heng had an absurd thought. Could it be that the Lord of Sky City was very young? But how could such a young man support such a powerful and mysterious force? After Qi Heng's careful observation, Qi Heng was certain. The Lord of Sky City would never be older than Qi Haitao. This discovery caused Qi Heng's hair to stand on end. He felt that the Radiance Federation that he had been living in had suddenly become unfamiliar. However, even though Qi Wangyang had thousands of thoughts in his mind, he did not dare to slight the Castellan of Sky City at this time. Qi Heng hurriedly greeted Lin Yuan as well as Lu Jia and the Mother of Bloodbath, who were beside him. Thank you, City Lord, for helping our Qi family win the Blood Oath battle against the Miao family. Thank you again, City Lord. When Lin Yuan heard Qi Heng's words, he revealed an expression that was not a smile. Lin Yuan did not think that Qi Heng was sincerely thanking him. Lin Yuan did not waste his breath with Qi Heng. He took out his cell phone and booked a Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow. When Qi Heng saw Lin Yuan using his cell phone to book a flying fei, his face nearly collapsed. What the hell? Why did Sky City's Castellan have to spend money to rent such a cheap flying fei? Qi Heng felt that it was time for him to perform. City Lord, I have a Diamond V/Fantasy V source type life form red-necked eagle goose, which is only one step away from becoming a myth breed, and a suzerain 6/myth I pinnacle giant winged wombat. The red-necked eagle goose is very comfortable to ride, but it flies slowly. The giant winged wombat flies faster, but it is not very comfortable to ride. However, it is much more comfortable than the Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow. City Lord, why don't you choose one of the red-necked eagle goose or the giant winged wombat? The Mother of Bloodbath sneered. What makes you stand out? Does the red-necked eagle goose fly very fast? I don't think so. Speaking of which, the red-necked eagle goose is delicious. When he heard the Mother of Bloodbath's words, Qi Heng immediately shivered and did not dare to say more. Qi Heng could feel that the red-haired woman in front of him was a pinnacle myth 2 fei that had taken human form. Based on the red-haired woman's aura, she was definitely an arachnid fei. Among the arachnid feis, there were indeed aviary spiders that fed on avian feis. Qi Heng was really afraid that if he summoned the red-necked eagle goose, it would be eaten by this red-haired woman with a cold aura. Qi Heng did not know whether he should resist or not. If he resisted, not only would he not be able to save the red-necked eagle goose, but he might even be disposed of. After seeing how Sky City had helped the Sea of Bliss win the Blood Oath Extreme battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, Qi Heng understood a truth. No matter what, he should not go against Sky City. Otherwise, he might very well be the next person to be split in two. While the mother of Bloodbath and Qi Heng were talking, the Divine Travel Black Swallow that he had booked had arrived. Everyone rode on the Divine Travel Black Swallow and flew toward Shocking Wave City. The distance between Shocking Wave City and the Royal Capital was about the same as the distance between the Royal Capital and Indigo Azure City. It was just that Indigo Azure City was in the east of the Royal Capital, while Shocking Wave City was in the west. They were in two completely different directions. Previously, it had taken Lin Yuan more than 7 days to travel from the Royal Capital to Indigo Azure City on the Diamond Divine Travel Black Swallow. Now it would take at least half a month to fly all the way there on the Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not think of relying on this rented Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow to go to Shocking Wave City. Lin Yuan had just communicated with the Slaughter Sky Butterfly through the purple sky. After leaving the Royal Capital's sphere of influence, Lin Yuan summoned the Slaughter Sky Butterfly. The Slaughter Sky Butterfly would take everyone to Shocking Wave City. As his strength increased, Lin Yuan increasingly understood how precious time was. If possible, Lin Yuan did not want to spend too much time on the road. The Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow flew out of the Royal Capital's city district in over an hour and reached the Royal Capital's outer suburbs. Lin Yuan immediately called everyone down from the Divine Travel Black Swallow and clicked on the complete order on his mobile phone. He let the Platinum Divine Travel Black Swallow end its journey with passengers. Then Lin Yuan waved his hand, and the Slaughter Sky Butterfly was released from the Spirit Lock spatial zone. The moment the Mother of Bloodbath saw the Slaughter Sky Butterfly, it frowned and put on a vigilant expression. Chapter 1282. The Mother of Bloodbath knew that the killer butterfly had become Lin Yuan's guardian. However, the killer butterfly, which was still a slaughter worm, had indeed almost killed it an endless summer. Therefore, it was difficult for the Mother of Bloodbath to let down its guard against the killer butterfly. Lin Yuan also noticed this and was about to say something. At that moment, the killer butterfly took the initiative to walk to the Mother of Bloodbath's side and whispered, "Since I transformed into a human form, I have never had the chance to apologize to you in endless summer. Now that we belong to Sky City, I hope we can get along well in the future." Upon hearing the killer butterfly's words, the Mother of Bloodbath pursed its lips and said softly, "Okay." After saying that, the Mother of Bloodbath did not say anything else. Lu Jie and Lin Yuan, who had been with the Mother of Bloodbath for a long time, noticed that its earlobes had become faintly red. In daily life, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie had discovered that the Mother of Bloodbath had a small problem of being tsundra. It seemed that the Mother of Bloodbath was being tsundra again. However, the Mother of Bloodbath's tsundra reaction also proved that it agreed with the killer butterfly's words. Although the Mother of Bloodbath did not speak much, it was not difficult to understand since it liked to be tsundra. After Lin Yuan summoned the killer butterfly in human form, Qi Heng secretly observed it. The killer butterfly's strength was higher than Qi Heng's, so he could not see through it at all. However, based on the killer butterfly's appearance, Qi Heng subconsciously regarded it as a humanoid fae. After all, apart from humanoid fays, few people would dye their hair blue. Even its eyebrows and eyelashes were dyed blue. At the same time, Qi Heng sized up Lin Yuan in shock again. Could it be that this Sky City Lord, who was obviously young, could actually contract a myth breed fae that could take on a human form? What kind of genius was the Sky City Lord? Not to mention that Qi Haitao, who came from a veteran faction, could not compare. Even those young core members from top factions might not have a humanoid myth breed fae in their 20s. After greeting Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and the Mother of Bloodbath, the killer butterfly transformed into its true form. The butchering sky butterfly revealed the pressure of a monarch-class creation breed fae after transforming into its true form. After feeling the creation breed fae's pressure emanating from the slaughter sky butterfly, Qi Heng's jaw almost dropped to the ground. Qi Heng swallowed his saliva violently while staring at Lin Yuan for a long time. Qi Heng was already certain that Lin Yuan wasn't a youth. Instead, it was the voice of an old monster who pretended to be a teenager, but his real age was unknown. Otherwise, it was impossible for a young man to possess a creation seed Fey. With the sea source grass, it will be much easier for your Sea of Bliss tribe to make a comeback. Lin Yuan did not expect the sea species experts to invest so much for this whale fall. Afraid of causing trouble, they even traded a treasure like the sea source grass to the blissful sea tribe. The sea source grass was a very special Fey. It might not have any combat ability, but it was a very special Fey. It did not have any combat ability, but if it was planted in a water body, it could rely on its abilities and exclusive skills to transform any water body into a sea. It could allow Feys that could only be bred in the sea to be bred in any water body. 4 factions like the blissful sea tribe that relied on breeding specific aquatic Feys, the sea source grass could be considered a foundational resource. When Qi Heng heard Lin Yuan say this in a calm tone, he was already scared out of his wits. Qi Heng hurriedly knelt on the ground and explained. I just mentioned the trade between the oceanic race experts and the blissful sea tribe because I want to give the sea source grass to the city lord. City lord saved the lives of everyone in the blissful sea tribe. Why would I hide anything from you? Lin Yuan's face revealed a smile that showed he had seen through everything. You better be. I saw that you were hesitant to say something earlier. If there is really something, why don't you say it now? Otherwise, if I find out that there is something you haven't mentioned before on the island in the Raging Wave City, I will have to reconsider Sky City's attitude toward the Qi family. Qi Heng made up his mind and said, City Lord, the blissful sea tribe bought the island in the Raging Wave City after tearing up the cooperation agreement with the Miao family's beast creation garden. At that time, we were always afraid that the Miao family's beast creation garden would send their top combat power to destroy our development of the island and even assassinate us. Therefore, we spent a lot of money to hire the top faction, the 5 Thearchs mercenary, to protect the island. In fact, the blissful sea tribe was not the only one who traded with the oceanic race experts. The 5 Thearchs mercenary was also there. Qi Heng's voice slowly became softer. City Lord, I don't know if you are aware that the 5 Thearchs mercenary is backed by His Majesty the Eternal Lamp. Perhaps His Holiness has already found out about this large-scale whale fall. Chapter 1283. From Qi Heng's words, it was very likely that His Holiness already knew about this large-scale whale fall. Lin Yuan immediately frowned tightly. Lin Yuan was not surprised that the blissful sea tribe had hired the 5 emperors. When Wenyu was investigating the blissful sea tribe, she had mentioned it before. However, he did not expect the 5 emperors' mercenaries to be stationed on the blissful sea tribe's distant island. He also knew about the large whale fall below the island. If this matter only involved the 5 emperors' mercenaries, which was a top faction, Lin Yuan would not have the slightest fear. Even if the 5 emperors' mercenary group was on good terms with Coiling Dragon Valley, in the face of such a large whale fall, as long as the 5 emperors' mercenary group dared to snatch it, Lin Yuan would not be merciful. However, the relationship between the Radiance Federation's factions was very complicated. Among the 50 top factions, half of them were backed by the 13 Majesties. It was just like how the Brahma Worm Cage was backed by the Moon Empress, the Whale Ocean Trade was backed by Chef Supreme, and the Coiling Dragon Valley was backed by Bamboo Monarch. The top force, the 5 Emperors Mercenary Group, was backed by the Eternal Lantern of the 13 Majesties. Moreover, the relationship between the 5 Thearchs mercenaries and His Holiness was very different from the Moon Empress and the Brahma Insect Cage, Chef Supreme and the Whale Ocean Trade, and Bamboo Monarch and the Coiling Dragon Valley. The name 5 Emperor Mercenaries came from the fact that there were 5 Emperor-ranked experts in the group. Among the 5 Emperor-level powerhouses of the 5 Emperors mercenary team, 2 of them were once assistants of His Highness the Eternal Lamp. Later, for some unknown reason, he left the Lantern House where His Holiness the Everlasting Lantern was and set up his own house. However, these 2 Emperor-level powerhouses had always been in close contact with His Holiness the Eternal Lamp. 6 years ago, when His Holiness the Eternal Lamp held the 10,000 Lanterns Temple Festival, the 2 Emperor-level experts of the 5 Emperors mercenary team were not only invited to participate. He was even seated in the VIP section of the 10,000 Lanterns Temple Fair. Therefore, this matter was known by the 5 Thearchs mercenary group. The five Thearchs mercenary group didn't want to grasp this great opportunity by themselves. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it was not impossible to tell His Holiness Longevity Lamp about this great opportunity. If that was the case, then this matter would be troublesome. Lin Yuan regretted not rushing to the scene as soon as possible after negotiating with Qi Heng and Qi Haitao in Sky City's Star Web private territory and knowing that there was a large whale below the island. Qi Heng looked at Lin Yuan's tightly pursed lips and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. However, Qi Heng did not regret not telling Lin Yuan the truth back then. This matter involved Her Holiness. Even if Qi Heng had seen the power of the Sky City, he would not be able to do anything about it. He still did not believe that Sky City would dare to compete with a majesty for resources. Qi Heng did not know what he would face next. Just as Qi Heng's imagination was running wild, he saw the youth who had been standing behind Lin Yuan take a step forward and ask, "Do you know when the experts of the Sea Tribe came to the island to negotiate with the Blissful Sea Tribe and the 5 Emperors' mercenaries?" Hearing this, Qi Heng recalled for a while and hurriedly told the truth. "My lord, it hasn't been long since this happened. In my memory, it should have happened at 7 o'clock last Tuesday night." Upon hearing that, Lu Jie turned to Lin Yuan and said, "That's right. Young master, today is Monday. If it happened at 7 o'clock last Tuesday night, it would be less than 6 days ago. I heard that His Holiness the Eternal Lamp left for the Outer Realm a week ago, so it's impossible for His Holiness the Eternal Lamp to know about this." Qi Heng originally didn't think much of it when Lu Jie calculated the time, but when Lu Jie clearly stated His Holiness's itinerary, Qi Heng could not help but widen his eyes. His Holiness the Eternal Lamp had supreme authority in the Radiance Federation, and his whereabouts were the most secretive. It was impossible for outsiders to know about it. Even the 2 Emperor-class experts in the 5 Emperors' mercenaries who were in contact with His Holiness the Eternal Lamp did not know his itinerary. But how did this masked man in front of him know about it? He even heard about it. I also want to hear about this. Why don't I know where to hear about it? At the same time, Qi Heng also keenly noticed that this masked man addressed Lin Yuan as young master instead of city lord. This showed that this masked man was not just a member of Sky City. He was Lin Yuan's servant in the true sense. Such a situation could indirectly show that Sky City's city lord had other more prominent identities. This identity could even let the servants around Sky City's city lord know His Holiness the Eternal Lamp's whereabouts. At this thought, Qi Heng only felt that his imagination was starting to become lacking. Qi Heng really could not imagine what identity in the Radiance Federation could achieve this. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Lin Yuan's brows relaxed a lot. His Holiness did not need to report any of his actions in the Radiance Federation to anyone. However, when His Holiness wanted to go to the Outer Realm, he needed to send a message to the Spirit Guards in advance. The Spirit Guards could not control His Holiness' actions, so His Holiness going down to inform the Spirit Guards was equivalent to a kind of report. Lu Jie was the Spirit Guard's chief guard knight Leaning Moon's disciple and had the ability to come into contact with His Holiness' whereabouts. As long as this matter did not involve His Holiness himself. No matter who this matter involved, Lin Yuan would not give in. Lin Yuan was bound to fight for this large-scale whale fall to the end. This was related to whether the floating island whale could hatch as soon as possible so that Lin Yuan could build a real sky city that floated in the sky as soon as possible. At that moment, Lu Jie continued to speak. "Young master, not only is His Holiness the Eternal Lamp not in the Radiance Federation now, but the 5 Radiance envoys are also not in the Federation. If the 5 Emperors' mercenaries have to report the large-scale whale fall to His Holiness the Eternal Lamp, the most likely is to talk about it to His Holiness' little disciple, and he who is still in the Radiance Federation." Upon hearing Lu Jie mention and Lin Yuan recalled Zhong Zai's call to Gulang a few days ago. At that time, Gulang and he had a conflict at the Class 5 dimensional rift outside Cold Frost City. Based on Gulang's words, Gulang and he were at a disadvantage in the conflict. Gulang had gone to the Class 5 swamp dimensional rift to search for dimensional life forms, so it was impossible that he did not have a few experts by his side. However, under such circumstances, Gulang still did not gain an advantage over he. This meant that he must also have experts by his side to protect him. In the face of the experts by he's side, Lin Yuan felt that even if his Void Shadow Fiend was at the immortal level, he might not necessarily be able to gain the upper hand. In the battle for a large-scale whale fall, once his martial strength fell to a disadvantage, he would be abnormally passive. After thinking about it again and again, Lin Yuan communicated with Red Thorn through his spiritual energy. He let Red Thorn use the Tongue of Relinquish to control Lu Yenshan, who was guarding in front of the breeding room in the swamp world, and ordered Lu Yenshan to find Bai Yen. If it really did not work, he could only release Bai Yen from the swamp world, as Morbius was unable to detect the true data of an immortal life form. Therefore Lin Yuan did not investigate Bai Yen. However, according to the Void Shadow Fiend, Bai Yen had reached the pinnacle of Class 12. This meant that Bai Yen was already equivalent to a Class 9 Immortal Fae in terms of dimensional lifeform grade. Chapter 1285. In the end, Di Wanqing saw that the first 4 words on the 6th line of the book were an idiom. Di Wanqing read it out softly. A high reputation attracts slander. Di Wantian replied. Second brother, because of third sister, you've become more and more impatient. It's not good to be too anxious. Under normal circumstances, the news of our whale ocean trading company having 2 undying experts should have attracted the attention of your majesties. The reason why I decided to release this information is because the Sea-Sky bloodline hasn't appeared in the world for too long. When I went to meet Master Chef Supreme, he actually mentioned the Sea and Sky bloodline to me. Spreading the news of having 2 undying experts can divert everyone's attention from Ocean-Sky bloodline to whale ocean trade itself. On the other hand, it will also be convenient for us to recruit creation masters in a high-profile manner. I asked Hao to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence and spread the news that he would compete for the Radiance Envoy position. This is to give everyone a reassurance. In addition, the Radiance 100 sequence selection is imminent. The Azure Federation will send envoys to observe the ceremony. At a time like this, His Majesty won't have the time to focus on the whale ocean trade. Now, the blood oath battle between the Sea of Bliss and the Miao family has become the core of the Radiant sect's public opinion. As long as we participate in it, we will become a member of the public opinion. In that case, His Holiness Iron Hell, who is in charge of identifying the attributes of a faction, will immediately look at the whale ocean trade and immediately begin to inspect it. Our whale ocean trade cannot afford such an outcome. Before Third Sister succeeds, if what we've done is exposed, the Sin Cleansing Pond will be our final destination. Di Wanqing understood what Di Wantian meant. He also understood what Di Wantian meant when he told him to look at the phrase, "Fame attracts slander." Indeed, the current status of the whale ocean trade was simply too high. The slightest movement would attract attention from all directions. It seemed like the Miao family's beast creation garden had delivered itself to their doorstep. Even if whale ocean trade wanted to grab it, they couldn't. Di Wanqing sighed and said, "Big brother, I'm going to answer Miao Zhenshan's call and then go see Third Sister." After that, Di Wanqing stepped out of the room. Di Wantian picked up the book that he had not finished reading and continued to read. Di Wantian frowned slightly when he read the last line, "Caught in a cocoon of one's own making." He was no longer in the mood to continue watching. In fact, there was a more important reason why Di Wantian and Di Wanqing spoke so much. The Miao family's beast creation garden had a close relationship with the Moon Empress disciple. After picking up the phone, Lin Yuan heard Miao Zhou anxiously talking about the current situation in the Miao family's beast creation garden. As the initiator, Lin Yuan was naturally very clear about the situation in the Miao family's beast creation garden. However, Lin Yuan did not interrupt Miao Zhou. Instead, he pretended to be completely ignorant and listened carefully. After listening to Miao Zhou for a long time, Lin Yuan was sure that Miao Zhou was really trying to curry favor with him. He basically told him the current situation in the Miao family's beast creation garden without hiding anything. "I have some urgent matters to attend to these few days. I don't have much time." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Miao Zhou's heart suddenly sank and fine beads of sweat seeped out of his forehead. If Lin Yuan did not help, the Miao family would really be at a dead end. Miao Zhou's throat tightened and he did not know what to say. Lin Yuan continued, "This matter is not difficult to resolve. It's not difficult to solve this problem. I'll help you solve it after I'm done with my work." After speaking, Lin Yuan hung up the phone. Qi Heng had been eavesdropping from the start of Lin Yuan's call. In the end, Qi Heng did not hear any useful information from Lin Yuan's words. Qi Heng would never have thought that the youth in front of him was not only the savior of the Sea of Bliss. He was also the savior of the Miao family's beast creation garden. When Miao Zhuo heard the busy tone on the other end of the phone, he was relieved. Since Lin Yuan had given his guarantee, he would definitely be able to resolve it. The Miao family's beast creation garden could also be preserved. However, Lin Yuan had said that he would help the Miao family's beast creation garden after he was done with his work. If this matter was dragged on, the Miao family's beast creation garden would probably become a street rat. Chapter 1286. For a moment, Miao Zhuo didn't know whether this call was good news or bad news. But no matter what, he had to report this matter to his grandfather, Miao Zhenshan, immediately. Lin Yuan could have helped the Miao family solve the problem in the beast creation garden. If Lin Yuan wanted to solve this problem, he just needed to say a word. After all, the Sky City Lord and the Moon Empress disciple were both Lin Yuan alone. However, Lin Yuan had deliberately delayed this matter in order to have time for public opinion to continue fermenting. As a result, more and more people came to know about this matter in the Sky City. Only in this way could he harvest the power of faith to the greatest extent. When the matter reached its peak, he would use his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to join the Miao family's beast creation garden. It could also add fuel to the fire of public opinion and trigger even more public opinion. He would be able to use two identities to harvest the power of faith. At the same time, he made use of the rivalry between Sky City's City Lord and the Moon Empress disciple to attract more attention. He also directed the supporters of both sides to go against each other on Star Web. Thus, through the conflict of public opinion, the faith of these supporters would be consolidated, and the faith of these supporters would become firmer. Killing two birds with one stone. As for the damage to the Miao family's beast creation garden's reputation, it was not within his consideration. At this time, the killer butterfly had already flown for half a day. Lin Yuan could faintly see a majestic giant city on the slaughter sky butterfly's back, and it became clear in front of his eyes. This huge city was the Raging Wave City that Lin Yuan had never been to before. Although Stormy Wave City and Indigo Azure City were both coastal cities, the overall feeling they gave off was completely different. Looking down at Indigo Azure City, one could feel the romance of coastal life. Compared to the romantic and leisurely atmosphere of Indigo Azure City, Stormy Wave City looked much more prosperous. A large stretch of shallow sea was distributed outside Indigo Azure City, which made it only needed to defend against dimensional rifts that could open at any time. There was no need to consider the threat of large sea beasts to the city. This was because large sea beasts would run aground in shallow waters. If they ran aground for too long, their lives would be in danger. Outside of Stormy Wave City, there weren't many shallow seas as buffers. The edge of the city was all waters up to 1,500 meters deep. Due to the depth of the water, large sea beasts often passed by the edge of Stormy Wave City. However, it was precisely because of Stormy Wave City's geographical environment that allowed Stormy Wave City to produce a large number of rare deep-sea resources. At the same time, the deep-water areas at the edge of the city were suitable for building deep-water docks. The deep-water pier improved the trade convenience of Shocking Wave City and greatly promoted its economic prosperity. Raging Wave City was one of the Radiance Federation's 9 major cities that faced the sea, and it was often crowned with the title of number 1 city by the sea. In order to defend against the attacks of the sea beasts, the Stormy Wave City Lord had invested a large amount of money into the city's fortifications. Among all the coastal cities in the Radiance Federation, only the Raging Wave City's outer wall was 800 meters tall. Standing on the city walls of Stormy Wave City and looking down, any movement on the surface of the sea could be clearly seen. The 800-meter-tall city wall was 20 meters thick, and it was embedded with a large amount of hard metal spirit materials. Even if there was a large tsunami, as long as the sea level did not rise by 800 meters, it would still be safe. It was basically impossible for the seawater to break through the city walls and flood into Stormy Wave City. At that moment, the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's voice sounded in Lin Yuan's ears. "City Lord, we are now flying directly towards the distant islands. Or should I stay in Stormy Wave City for a while?" When Lin Yuan heard the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's question, he pondered. Under normal circumstances, when forces exchange territories, if the territory belonged to the jurisdiction of a large city, then the territory would be under the control of a large city. In that case, they would have to report to the city before exchanging territories. In other words, if Lin Yuan wanted to take over the Sea of Bliss's distant islands, he would need to let Stormy Wave City know in advance before the transaction could be considered successful. On the way here, Lin Yuan had learned from Qi Heng that this large-scale whale fall had just begun. It would take another 2 to 3 days to form an island whale embryo through the essence of a large whale fall. During this process, the Oceanids would definitely pledge their lives to protect the whale fall. Right now, the entire Stormy Wave City was calm and tranquil, which was enough to show that no one had gone to disturb this large-scale whale fall. Since it would take another 2 to 3 days for the island whale embryo to be condensed, going to the island now would just be a waste of time. Therefore, it was better to take advantage of these 2 days in Stormy Wave City to complete the transaction between Sky City and the Blissful Sea Tribe's remote island. Because the large whale landed right below the island, it was counted as part of the island. After the completion of the transaction, Sky City would firmly rule over any conflict that occurred during this massive whale fall. No matter which party wanted to take control of this massive whale fall, it would be equivalent to snatching something from the hands of the Sky Castle. After making the decision, Lin Yuan said to the Slaughter Sky Butterfly, "You're right. Heaven Slaughter Butterfly, let's go to Storm Wave City first." After saying that, Lin Yuan's gaze turned to Qi Heng. Qi Heng, as a veteran faction, the Blissful Sea Tribe has been developing in Stormwave City for so long. They can be considered the local tyrant of Stormwave City. I'm sure you're familiar with the Stormwave Guard Captain. The Blissful Sea Tribe just won the Blood Oath Extreme Duel with the Meow family in the Beast Creation Garden and is in the limelight. If you ask the Stormwave Guard Captain out at this time, I'm sure he won't refuse. We'll immediately transfer the Blissful Sea Tribe's remote island to Sky City. Upon hearing that, Qi Heng nodded with a face full of agreement. Okay, City Lord. I'm old friends with the Stormwave Guard Captain. As long as he's not busy, I can ask him out with a phone call. Qi Heng's face full of agreement was not an act. Instead, Qi Heng sincerely hoped to be able to transfer the Blissful Sea Tribe's remote island to Sky City as soon as possible. Lin Yuan's request for the transfer as soon as possible showed that Sky City was determined to win this massive whale fall. As long as His Holiness Eternal Lamp's disciple Anha also had his eyes on this massive whale fall, the two sides were bound to fight it out. Secondly, if the transfer was not completed now, when Sky City's City Lord and Anha fought, Anha would make him choose another side. Then he would be completely turned into wax. By then, no matter which side he chose, he would completely offend the other side. He might as well hand everything over to Lin Yuan so that he would not be forced to make a choice under pressure. At that moment, Lu Jie moved closer to Lin Yuan and said softly, "Young master, will split up later. I'll go make some arrangements in advance. Otherwise, if a conflict really breaks out and the Sea Tribe's experts go crazy, the safety of Stormwave City might be threatened." Lin Yuan nodded, knowing that Lu Jie wanted to go to the Spirit Guards branch in Stormwave City. The active period of the Dimensional Rift had just ended, and the guard envoys stationed in the various major cities had yet to return to the royal capital's Spirit Guards headquarters. This was the time when the various major cities' Spirit Guards branches were at their strongest. Chapter 1287. Lu Jie arranged for Guard Envoy C to lead the Spirit Guards to set up fortifications so that they could deal with the turbulence that would arise when they fought over the large whale fall on the distant island. Ever since it had gotten on the slaughtering sky butterfly's back, the Mother of Bloodbath had been absorbing the blood energy of the creation breed phase in the diamond phase storage box, the prismatic tortoise, the ardent sun dragon centipede, and the shadow-bound lost snake. The moment the slaughter sky butterfly landed on the ground, the Mother of Bloodbath opened its eyes and spoke with unconcealable excitement. "The blood energy in my body has reached its limit. I can't absorb any more blood energy. Otherwise, I might break through to Myth 3 at any moment." Lin Yuan's face lit up when he heard the Mother of Bloodbath's words. "Just bear with it for now. After I'm done with this, I'll find a good place for you to break through." The Mother of Bloodbath's breakthrough to Myth 3 was a major event for him. Not only was it related to whether the Mother of Bloodbath could awaken as a favored spirit, but it was also related to its safety. If the awakening failed, the Mother of Bloodbath's Markate Jade Spider bloodline would be activated. The Mother of Bloodbath was likely to explode under the impact of the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline. He had to be very careful about the Mother of Bloodbath's evolution. After landing on the ground, the killer butterfly did not return to the swamp world. Instead, he was arranged to follow Wuxia to the Spirit Guards branch. On one hand, it was to protect Wuxia. On the other hand, if there was something inconvenient for him to do by himself, he could ask the killer butterfly to do it for him. Qi Heng had already called the captain of the Stormy Wave Guard. The Blissful Ocean clan was a local power of the Stormy Wave City. The Stormy Wave City was very concerned about the blood oath battle between the Blissful Ocean clan and the Miao clan. This was because it was related to the distribution of a large portion of Stormy Wave City's resources. Therefore, Qi Heng invited the Stormy Wave Guard captain, and the Stormy Wave Guard captain immediately agreed to Qi Heng's request. However, the dimensional active period had just ended, and the Stormy Wave Guard captain had too many things to do. The Storm Wave Guard captain asked Qi Heng to go to his office for a meeting. Qi Heng led the way while Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath followed behind. While observing the scenery of Stormy Wave City, he listened to Qi Heng explain the situation of Stormy Wave City. Through his dealings with the Indigo Azure Guard captain and Ascending Dragon City Lord, he had personally experienced the benefits of cooperating with a large city. Stormy Wave City was known as the first coastal city, and undoubtedly had more resources than Indigo Azure City. In order to improve the fortifications of Stormy Wave City and resist the attacks of the sea beasts, Stormy Wave City had to be fortified. Every year, a large amount of resources would be spent on the Stormy Wave Guard. A large portion of the resources that the Raging Wave City allocated to the Stormy Wave Guard were used to hire Creation Masters. Although the Radiance Federation's Creation Master resources were much more abundant than the other small federations, the Creation Master resources of the Radiance Federation were much more abundant. Only the Freedom Federation and the Azure Federation, which were also part of the three great federations, could be mentioned in the same breath. However, having abundant Creation Masters did not mean that the Radiance Federation would not have a shortage of Creation Masters. The Radiance Federation had a huge population, but there were only a few Creation Masters. Most of the Creation Masters were employed by the major factions. The Creation Masters that were hired by the major factions would normally only work for the faction they were hired by. This caused the already scarce Creation Master resources to shrink again. The various major cities had always been competing with each other for development. Therefore, they would do their best to compete for the available Creation Master resources in the market. Lin Yuan wanted to see if he could cooperate with the Stormy Wave Guard captain when he met him in a while. He gave the Stormy Wave Guard captain the Creation Master resources that he lacked and then obtained some of the resources he needed. It was a win-win situation. In a short while, Qi Heng brought Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath to the Stormy Wave City Lord Mansion. The office of the Stormy Wave Guard captain was in the side pavilion of the City Lord's mansion. Before reaching the side pavilion's entrance, Lin Yuan saw a tall and thin middle-aged man striding out of the side pavilion. He laughed heartily with a face brimming with enthusiasm. Qi Heng, congratulations to your Blissful Sea clan for winning the Blood Oath Extreme Battle. I wonder if Brother Qi Heng has any plans to move the resources from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to Shocking Wave City? Qi Heng was thinking about the scene of the city in the sky fighting with Anha, the disciple of His Holiness the Eternal Lamp. However, when he heard the words of the tall and thin man in front of him, Qi Heng's expression immediately collapsed. He was really touching my sore spot. I want to move the resources from the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to Shocking Wave City. That depends on whether the City Lord of Sky City next to me agrees or not. The Blissful Sea clan belongs to Sky City now. Perhaps Sky City will soon withdraw the Blissful Sea clan's resources from Shocking Wave City. While talking to Qi Heng, the tall and thin middle-aged man sized up Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath behind Qi Heng. Seeing the masks on Lin Yuan's and the Mother of Bloodbath's faces, the tall and thin middle-aged man's eyes lit up. While the tall and thin middle-aged man was sizing up Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath, Lin Yuan was also sizing up the tall and thin man in front of him. This tall and thin man must be the Stormy Wave Guard captain. Through the conversation between the Stormy Wave Guard captain and Qi Heng, Lin Yuan knew that the Stormy Wave Guard captain very much wanted Qi Heng to move the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's resources to Shocking Wave City. A large number of new resources pouring into Shocking Wave City could greatly drive the development of Shocking Wave City. However, the Stormy Wave Guard captain's hopes were completely dashed. Qi Heng silently criticized the Stormy Wave Guard captain in his heart while preparing to introduce Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath to the Stormy Wave Guard captain. In the end, Qi Heng found that the Stormy Wave Guard captain had already walked past him and enthusiastically toward Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath. "You two must be from Sky City, right? When I was on the phone with Feng Dong, I heard him mention Sky City." While speaking, the Stormy Wave Guard captain extended his hand toward Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan saw the Stormy Wave Guard captain take the initiative to greet him so enthusiastically, he knew that the Stormy Wave Guard captain had the intention to take the initiative to befriend him. However, Lin Yuan had no impression of Feng Dong, whom the Stormy Wave Guard captain had mentioned. When the Stormy Wave Guard captain saw Lin Yuan hold his outstretched hand, he did not speak. He immediately realized that the person in front of him might not know who Feng Dong was and hurriedly explained. "Feng Dong is the Indigo Azure Guard captain. I heard from him that the Indigo Azure Guard and Sky City have been cooperating in the cultivation of phase." Upon hearing the Stormy Wave Guard captain's explanation, Lin Yuan replied with a smile, "That's right. That's right, our Sky City and Indigo Azure City have been cooperating in the cultivation of phase. Actually, it's not just Indigo Azure City. Our Sky City and Ascending Dragon City are also cooperating in the cultivation of phase. Compared to cooperating with other factions, our Sky City is more willing to cooperate with the major cities. This is also considered contributing a little to the city's defense." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Wang Su's eyes suddenly narrowed. Chapter 1288. Ever since the Raging Wave City Lord had thrown the Raging Wave Guard's construction work to Wang Su 3 years ago, Wang Su had been worrying about the resources for Creation Masters. Wang Su had been going to the Creation Master Association to issue missions and had recruited some Class 2 and Class 3 Creation Masters. However, over a dozen Class 2 Creation Masters and 2 or 3 Class 3 Creation Masters could not solve the problem. He could occasionally recruit a Class 4 Creation Master, but the high price offered by the Class 4 Creation Master was unacceptable to Wang Su. If the Raging Wave Guard wanted to distribute resources, it had to be fair. During the active phase of the Dimensional Rift, every Raging Wave Guard put their lives on the line and used their lives to protect Raging Wave City. Every Raging Wave Guard was a hero and there was no difference in merits. If the Class 4 Creation Master's price was too high, even if Wang Su could exchange for Bronze/Flawless or Bronze/Epic phase from the Class 4 Creation Master, if he could not benefit every member of the Raging Wave Guard with Bronze/Flawless phase, then these phase would lose their meaning. If the resources were biased, it would cause the unity of the people to fall apart. This was a big taboo when leading a group. Wang Su had also tried to find top factions or veteran factions like the Coiling Dragon Valley and the Beast Creation Garden that used Creation Master resources as a function. However, it was still the issue of the price that stumped Wang Su. Not long ago, during the call with Indigo Azure Guard Captain Feng Dong had gotten carried away and spilled the beans. Wang Su now knew why the Indigo Azure Guard could produce over 100 Bronze/Epic Hot Spring Snails at the end of the active phase of the Dimensional Rift. After Wang Su took out Feng Dong's dark history and threatened to post it on Star Web, Feng Dong's expression changed drastically. Wang Su had then learned about the trade between Indigo Azure City and Sky City from Feng Dong. It seemed that Sky City only needed Law Origin crystals to nurture Bronze/Epic phase, not Radiance dollars or other rare resources. That was right. If Raging Wave City could not afford the resources, Indigo Azure City, whose economy was far behind Raging Wave City, could not possibly afford it. Therefore, as the captain of the Raging Wave Guard, Wang Su had been so friendly with Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan had guessed Wang Su's thoughts. This was why Lin Yuan had told Wang Su that apart from Indigo Azure City, Sky City was also cooperating with Ascending Dragon City. Lin Yuan's words were expressing his attitude. He told Wang Su that if Stormy Wave City was willing, they could cooperate with Sky City like Indigo Azure City and Ascending Dragon City. Wang Su naturally understood the meaning behind Lin Yuan's words. Wang Su waved his hand in the direction he came from and said, "Honored guest, Why don't you go into the house and try a cup of our Stormy Wave City's unique sea grain tea? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan replied with a smile. I've long heard that the Sea Valley tea tree grows at the bottom of the raging waves strait in Stormy Wave City. I haven't had the chance to taste it before. Looks like I can finally enjoy it today. The mother of Bloodbath stood beside Lin Yuan like a door guardian. Wherever Lin Yuan went, the mother of Bloodbath followed. The mother of Bloodbath did not like to socialize and did not speak throughout. However, as a foodie, the mother of Bloodbath was still looking forward to Stormy Wave City's specialty, the sea grain tea. At this time, Qi Heng, who was left to the side, turned green. He was clearly the middleman and he was the one who made the call to arrange this meeting. Why did he become a spectator in the end? Apart from saying a sentence at the beginning, Lin Yuan did not give him a chance to speak afterward. In fact, when Wang Si saw Lin Yuan confirm Lin Yuan's identity, he roughly understood Qi Heng's purpose of taking the initiative to invite him. He might be the Stormy Wave City Guard captain, and Qi Heng was a core member of the older generation of the Sea of Bliss native faction. Wang Si would always be able to meet Qi Heng at some large events in Stormy Wave City. Both of them had helped each other with some small matters, so they had some friendship. However, this friendship was definitely not deep enough to the extent that Qi Heng would immediately look for him to share his joy after the Sea of Bliss won the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Sky City had helped the Sea of Bliss win the Blood Oath Extreme Duel against the top faction, Beast Creation Garden, and the Sea of Bliss had to pay a huge price. Perhaps the entire Blissful Sea tribe had already belonged to Sky City. On one hand, Wang Si wanted to talk about cooperation with Lin Yuan, and on the other hand he wanted to find out what Lin Yuan said during the discussion. He wanted to see if Lin Yuan had plans to withdraw the Sea of Bliss's resources from Stormy Wave City. If that was the case, then Stormy Wave City's economy and prosperity would be severely affected. Due to the composition of the Sea of Bliss's resources, even if they were to move, they would definitely move to another coastal city. Although Stormy Wave City was now known as the #1 coastal city. But coastal cities like Extreme Ocean City and Towering Wave City had the power to compete with Stormy Wave City. If the Sea of Bliss's resources were moved to Extreme Ocean City and Towering Wave City, the title of Stormy Wave City as the #1 coastal city would change hands. This was definitely not what Wang Si wanted to see. Just as Qi Heng followed behind the mother of Bloodbath and was about to enter the house, the mother of Bloodbath turned around and stopped Qi Heng outside the house. The mother of Bloodbath pointed to the training ground not far from the side hall, where some Stormy Waves guards were practicing. Stand over there. When the city lord is done talking, I will call you. Don't run around and don't call to leak information. I will watch you. The mother of Bloodbath waved its hand. A fingernail-sized red crystal spider landed on Qi Heng's head without any hesitation. Qi Heng was trembling with anger, but he was helpless. As a pinnacle emperor-class expert, Qi Heng was much stronger than the mother of Bloodbath. However, Qi Heng had to obey the mother of Bloodbath's words. He did not even dare to take off the red crystal spider that was used to monitor him and place it on his clothes. However, when he thought of the upcoming conflict between Sky City and Anhe, Qi Heng's anger dissipated by half. Wang Si warmly invited Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath to their seats. Wang Si took out 2 cups carved from winter shell essence and poured 2 cups of freshly brewed sea grain tea. He handed them to Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath while speaking. The best tool to drink sea grain tea is the winter shell cup. The winter shell cup can quickly cool down the sea grain tea, forming an extremely cool taste but not letting the tea freeze. Sea grain tea will have a faint fishy smell when drunk hot, but when drunk cold, it will have the fragrance and freshness of seaweed. After drinking it, it will be easy to cool down, and the coolness will have a faint sweet aftertaste. Quickly try it. The mother of Bloodbath took a tentative sip of the sea grain tea. After drinking the tea, the mother of Bloodbath's eyes lit up. The mother of Bloodbath liked the taste of the sea grain tea very much. The mother of Bloodbath hurriedly continued to raise the cup and drink mouthful after mouthful. After Lin Yuan drank the sea grain tea, he felt that it tasted good. However, the freshness of the sea grain tea gave him the illusion that he was drinking seaweed soup. Chapter 1290. He intended to try and see if he could use the Spirit Lock spatial zone to nurture an environment suitable for the Abyss world. It did not need anyone to take care of it, but it could change the environment of the Abyss world on a large scale. Seeing that Wang Su had yet to return, Lin Yuan lowered his head and observed the steel spike iron clam that the Stormy Wave Guards had chosen as their standard Fey. As a defense-type Fey, the steel spike iron clam had been chosen by the Stormy Wave Guard, and it definitely had advantages that other defense-type Feys couldn't compare to. He used Morbius True Data to examine the steel spike iron clam. He was pleasantly surprised to find that the steel spike iron clam was very suitable for her current Fey system. The steel spike muscle's normal skill Iron Thorn Cross Shield had a similar effect to the yellow scarlet golden butterfly's exclusive skill, Tremor Counterattack. However, when the yellow Fey golden butterfly's shield was attacked, it would reduce the damage received, regardless of whether it was a magic attack or a physical attack. A portion of the damage would be reflected back through tremors. On the other hand, the Iron Spike muscle's skill Iron Spike Cross Shield would shoot out a large number of iron spikes after receiving damage. When the iron thorns hit an allied target, the target would receive a bloodthirsty excitement effect. Upon contact with an enemy target, the iron thorns would sharpen and deal physical damage to the enemy target. This was equivalent to the Iron Spike muscle casting the Iron Spike Cross Shield on a target. When the target was attacked, it would cause an indiscriminate AoE attack. Moreover, when the attack landed on an ally, it would provide a buff to that ally. Just the Iron Thorn Cross Shield alone was enough for the Steel Spike Iron Clam to join Chu Si's Fey lineup. While Chu Si's defensive capabilities were being enriched, she would also be able to take the path of damage reflection to the end. With the Steel Spike Iron Muscle, Lin Yuan felt that his Iron Bucket Sister transformation plan could start at 4 p.m. With such a huge transaction with the Stormy Wave Guard, Wang Su probably wouldn't reject Wang Su's request for a bronze steel spike iron clam with an excellent exclusive skill. Just as Lin Yuan was thinking about this, Wang Su returned with a gold Fey storage box. There are 200 steel spike iron muscles here, and only 100 of them are bronze ranked. The other 100 are only at the normal and elite tier. Speaking of this, Wang Su smiled without any pretense before continuing. The creation masters that serve the Storm Wave Guard have spent all their energy on increasing the Fey's grade and quality. In addition, the Storm Wave Guard will inevitably encounter danger during missions. Feys with damaged roots will also require a lot of creation master resources to maintain. When releasing the spikes to counterattack a local target, the Steel Spike Iron Muscle would deal a large-scale physical AoE damage to the enemy target. This ability was very useful in low-grade battles, but when it came to high-grade battles, the AoE damage from such a counterattack wouldn't be that great. Some Feys that were good at defense could easily withstand it. However, the Pink Crystal Muscle's Iron Thorn Cross Shield turned the original AoE physical damage into an AoE charm ability, reducing the target's will to fight. As Lin Yuan's strength grew, he increasingly understood the importance of will to fight in a battle. The side with a high will to fight could often create miracles of defeating the strong. It wasn't just the Iron Thorn Cross Shield that made Lin Yuan feel that the Pink Crystal Muscle was suitable for Chu Si. The Pink Crystal Muscle's elite ability, Foam Crystal Shield, was simply tailor-made for Chu Si's combat system. Chu Si's Burning Sunflower Gemini and Obsidian Iron Wild Bull weren't defensive Feys in the traditional sense. Among Chu Si's Feys, only the yellow scarlet golden butterfly could apply a defensive shield. Moreover, the yellow scarlet golden butterfly's shield was a single target shield. The Pink Crystal Muscle's Foam Crystal Shield increased Chu Si's overall shield ability. It allowed Chu Si to no longer be good at single target combat. Instead, she could play the role of a defense-type Spirit Chi professional in a team. The AoE ability, Foam Crystal Shield, combined with the yellow scarlet golden butterfly's exclusive skill, Explosive Shield Counterattack, was a very powerful killing tool. Not only could the Foam Crystal Shield be used on multiple targets, but it could also stack these temporary shields on a single person. Chapter 1291. If multiple layers of Foam Crystal Shields could be stacked on a target, then when the exclusive skill Shield Explosion Counterattack was used, the shield would explode. Even though the Foam Crystal Shield's defensive ability wasn't strong, and it weakened with each layer. However, when the damage that several layers of Foam Crystal Shield could withstand was condensed together, it could still explode with great lethality. However, the acne crystal muscle's specialization gave him a headache. There were simply too many outstanding phases that had failed because of their exclusive skill tool transformation. Therefore, Lin Yuan was prepared to ask Wang Su to see what this acne crystal muscle could transform into. When Lin Yuan took out the pink thorn crystal muscle to observe, Wang Su saw Lin Yuan's interest in it. Before Lin Yuan could ask, Wang Su used his hand to knock on the pink thorn crystal muscle's shell and instructed it. Acne crystal muscle, begin tool transformation. This pink crystal muscle had been cultivated for a long time. It had been placed in the warehouse of the Stormy Wave Guard. Wang Su wasn't a creation master and didn't personally nurture the acne crystal muscle. However, Wang Su was responsible for feeding the other steel-barbed muscles, including the pink crystal muscle. This allowed Wang Su to issue commands to the pink thorn crystal muscle even though he was not its contractor. However, the acne crystal muscle obviously didn't give Wang Su any face. The acne crystal muscle opened and closed its shell twice in Lin Yuan's hand, emitting 2 popping sounds. Upon seeing this, Wang Su felt a little awkward. He didn't expect that the acne crystal muscle wouldn't even wave its fingers in front of Lin Yuan. This was too shameful. Wang Su could easily kill the pink thorn crystal muscle. However, if the pink thorn crystal muscle was unwilling to undergo the tool transformation, Wang Su had no way to force it. Wang Su scratched the back of his head and said, "When this pink thorn crystal muscle was first bred, we experimented with its normal and elite skills," Lin Huang said. The normal level skill is slightly different from the other steel spike muscles. The elite grade skill is a group defense skill. It's considered a rare skill. On average, only 1 steel spike iron clams will appear after nurturing 3 to 5,000. It's just that this pink thorn crystal muscle's exclusive specialization is a bit too much, or I would have contracted this pink thorn crystal muscle a year ago. At this point, Wang Su's face revealed a helpless expression. Obviously, he was speechless at the appearance of the acne crystal clam after it had transformed. Upon hearing Wang Su's regretful sigh, Lin Yuan's heart thumped. Could it be that the acne crystal clam's tool transformation was really bad? If that was the case, then this acne crystal muscle was very suitable for Chu Xi's combat style. However, he had to consider whether he should let her contract this acne crystal muscle or not. If the tool transformation was useless, the acne crystal muscle would have 1 less exclusive skill. This would greatly affect the overall value of the acne crystal muscle. However, he still decided to see for himself what the acne crystal muscle could transform into. Lin Yuan circulated the spiritual power in his body slightly, and an imperceptible stream of spirit qi flowed through his palm and into the acne crystal muscle's shell. At that instant, Lin Yuan commanded the acne crystal muscle. Acne crystal muscle tool transformation. As Lin Yuan's voice fell, the pinkish-purple acne crystal muscle in his palm suddenly shone brightly. The width of the clamshell became narrower and longer. Finally, it formed a pinkish-purple flower sword that was over 80 centimeters long. Including the sword hilt, it was almost 1 meter long. The flower sword that the acne crystal muscle transformed into was very attractive and looked even more magnificent than the original color of the acne crystal muscle. The pinkish-purple sword was in a semi-crystallized state. The semi-crystallized sword body glowed with the unique milky pearl light of the clamshell. The spikes on the clamshell had all turned into the sword body's carvings. The flower sword's hilt was bent backward, half surrounding the sword wielder's hand, and it could protect the wielder's palm very well. Lin Yuan wasn't the pink thorn crystal muscle's contractor, so he couldn't control the pink thorn crystal muscle's flower sword. However, according to Lin Yuan's knowledge and the precedence of other phases transforming into swords, Lin Yuan could infer that when controlling the flower sword, he could use the foam crystal shield and iron thorn cross shield by swinging the sword. When the sword body touched the target or used the sword body to block damage, the iron thorn cross shield's effect would be automatically triggered. He looked at the flower sword that the acne crystal clam had transformed into and felt a little complicated. On the one hand, Wang Su's words had made Lin Yuan lose hope in the acne crystal muscle transformed weapon. Now that he looked at the flower sword, it could be said that it was undoubtedly the most suitable tool transformation for Chu Xi. Because of her interest, Chu Xi had practiced the flower sword for half a year. During the all-star match, Zhou Xian had relied on the flower sword to counterattack by exploding the shield to defeat the Dragon Gate Guild Club's reserve member, Chen Hongfeng. On the other hand, Lin Yuan had wanted to find a defense-type Fei for Zhou Xian. However, the sword transformed from the Acne Crystal Clam gave Zhou Xian another reason to fight in close combat. It seemed that Zhou Xian would become more and more reckless in the future battles. Therefore, Lin Yuan felt that his Iron Bucket Sister transformation plan, which he had just started, had a bad start. At that moment, Lin Yuan was secretly planning the Iron Bucket Sister transformation plan, which he had just started. Before the Iron Bucket Sister transformation plan, Lin Yuan was determined to change Zhou Xi's reckless habits. Fortunately, the Acne Crystal Muscle transformed into a flower sword, which made Zhou Xi reckless, and also increased her overall appearance. When Zhou Xi took out the Acne Crystal Muscle's flower sword in the S tournament or the Radiance 100 Sequences selection, it would definitely be able to wash away the title of Iron Ox Princess, which Lin Yuan had always found unacceptable. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Wang Su's surprised voice. "Sai, this Acne Crystal Muscle is very stubborn. If it doesn't agree, there's no point in discussing it. Why is this Acne Crystal Muscle so obedient to you? If you want him to transform, he'll transform." Based on the mask on Lin Yuan's face, Wang Su confirmed his identity as the Sky City Lord as soon as they met. Wang Su had thought that Lin Yuan might be a creation master, but even if a creation master wanted an uncontracted Fei to submit to him, he wouldn't be able to do so. He would also need to take out some spirit liquids to entice the Fei and obtain its favorable impression. Lin Yuan had not taken anything out just now. He did not even make any extra movements. Why would the Acne Crystal Muscle listen to Lin Yuan? Since he had decided to let Zhou Xian contract the Pink Thorn Crystal Muscle, the first thing he had to do was to get it from Wang Su. Maybe this little fellow and I hit it off too well. I like it very much. I wonder if I can trade this little guy from your hands? Lin Yuan's words made Wang Su hesitate. ABC that you're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.